Welcome to another Sunday Superversive Livestream. I am your host, Ben Wheeler, and I'm here with my co host, Anthony Marquetta. Anthony, how are you doing today?
I had a lovely day. How about you, Ben?
I have wonderful, and that new mic sounds fantastic. Just
Yeah, that was the lid on the gigantic cup of water I have next to me.
cool.
That was making that noise. But yes, it's a much better microphone. I will not have this most live streams. I happen to be recording a Pinkerton's Ghost episode right
Huzzah!
beforehand. So that means that as a consequence, we get the nice mic today. This thing is a bit of a pain to set up.
Is it one of those boom mics?
It's the same one that you have.
Oh, good.
But I have to like clear out a table to get it, and I normally don't have that room. But
Oh.
oh well, not a big deal. Point is, we're good.
Alright, so we're here today to discuss anime. And I'm pretty tired, so I'm going to let you captain this one, Anthony.
That's fine. So this was one of those things that an idea that I had in the middle of the night, and I thought it was a great idea. And Ben's response was a long pause, and yeah, sure, why not?
That's my
I can't think
response
of
to a
any.
lot of things.
It is. It's like I can't think of anything better. Sure, let's do it. And I've been like aggressively pushing this, but what we're going to do is go through every anime that we have actually watched in full.
Mm.
So by in full, for the long form anime, that doesn't mean we have to watch all 900 something episodes of One Piece. The equivalent of one single season of an anime with multiple seasons, at least one season of it, or if it is a series that isn't broken into seasons and it's just one show, the whole series. So, and we are going to put it on our put it out in a ranking system. The traditional anime tier list, as all good weebs know. Anime tier lists do not start with the ranking at A; they start at S. I don't know why, but that's just how tier lists work in anime. So over time, I've realized I'm not really a believer in star ratings or number ratings because it becomes a little bit too difficult. Like, for example, I like Batman Ninja, and if you ask me what my gut rating for it would be something like a 7 of 10, but then a 7 of 10 is a C, and I think it's probably a little bit better than a C tier show, so that doesn't really make sense. And then you start comparing it with other things that would also be in that range, and it doesn't really seem to work, and then things get complicated. The tier list is the Chad way of ranking, superior method. Uh, there will be two parts to these rankings as well. We will not only be ranking whether or not it is an S tier to F tier, which is the lowest show. We are also going to be ranking whether or not, or discussing, I guess, and this is where the superversive aspect comes in, whether or not the show can be considered superversive. For people who don't know, first off, why are you watching the Superversive live stream? That's a little unusual, but hey, I guess
No,
I'm glad
we
you're here.
welcome you guys in.
Hi. I'm
Welcome.
glad you're here. Hi.
Hey, how you doing? Come here often, sailor.
We want you here, but I'm just surprised that you clicked on it. Uh, but besides that, soup means that it is the opposite of subversive, and it's more of an art than a science. If something is subversive, it is designed to tear down, to destabilize, to destroy. There can be good works that are subversive. Superversive is meant to build up. It is meant to reinvigorate you. It's meant to, I don't know if uplift is exactly, if it needs to necessarily be uplifting, but it needs to be in that sphere. It needs to be something that you can look at and it supports, Western civilization, society, and ultimately, really, in a deeper sense, Christendom. So it's a little bit more complicated than that.
I would say
Like I
that
said,
no.
deciding if something is superversive.
I would say
Go ahead.
that no subversive work is uplifting. or at least
I
is,
would agree with that,
yeah.
yes. I'm not sure if a superversive work necessarily needs to be uplifting, though. What it
Right.
needs to do, though, is it needs to support, like it's hard to describe it exactly because it is defined in some ways in relation to subversive, which everybody seems to kind of intuitively understand because it's so common. And the best way to really talk about superversive is to talk about examples. So,
Don't worry.
the
He'll come in.
example of almost the ultimate Vivo. That's why extremely superversive. Or he.
Hold on. You missed
I would say
the,
yes.
you missed the, first sentence of that. You just kind of cut out.
See, it's not the mic; it's the computer.
We always
I
knew it
said
was
hi.
the internet.
Yeah, I did. But it is Hayao Miyazaki. I was saying is
Ah, yes.
extremely superversive, even though he is not Christian, which is why it gets a little bit more complicated than that. However, Miyazaki's movies are all about building up. They are about the importance of the good things in life and the important things in life of family and love and kindness and everything like that. Miracle on 34th Street, as they said, the lovely intangibles, if you've ever seen that film. Another superversive classic.
I have seen it.
So, I'm not going to go in depth on it. If you go on superversivesf.com, I will type that into the chat. You will find a list of superversive books if you want to get a better idea and articles about the topic. Just remember, when you hear superversive, it is more of an art than a science. And I know because there was a whole semi-controversy early on in the movement where we kind of tried to turn it into a science. And it was causing more problems than it solved when you realize it's more about the feeling and about the atmosphere and about, what the work is presenting to you than about a specific checklist of items. You'll hopefully see as we go, Ben and I, who have been a part of this movement in a while, we have a pretty good grasp on it now. So you'll hopefully see as we go through superversive works on here what precisely we're talking about when we call a work superversive, if you don't already understand it.
So what's a simple contrast? So we both agree that MHA, My Hero Academia, is a very superversive work.
Yeah.
What would be another shonen anime that is not superversive?
So that's actually kind of hard because shonen tends to be superversive. My immediate thought was a superhero story that wasn't superversive, and that is Watchmen. Watchmen is extremely subversive. But as far as a shonen anime that's not superversive, honestly, most of them are.
Yeah.
Maybe Death Note, but we'll discuss that. Even Death Note, it's a little bit more, it's a little bit less black and white than just it's straight up subversive, I think. So, Watchmen, though, as a contrast to My Hero Academia, it's really well, since they're both superhero stories. Watchmen is a very grim, a very depressing story. It is not a bad story, not by any means. In fact, there are moments of brilliance in it. And Alan Moore can at least be commended for the fact that his dialogue crackles. There are few better lines than Rorschach in the jail cell, right?
Yep.
It's not I who am locked in here with you. That's you gotta have a 10 year if you don't appreciate a line like that, no matter the quality or of the philosophy of the rest of the work. John C. Wright has written about Watchmen in the past and how he believes that the proper contrast to Watchmen is The Incredibles. That's the superversive counterpoint to Watchmen, and it makes sense for a variety of reasons. But the point of Watchmen, though, is that there are no heroes, nobody succeeds. Everything is going to go to shit no matter what happens and no matter what anybody does. And the answer to life, the universe, and everything is wrapped in a little fortune cookie, and if you crack open the shell and you read the paper, it says "screw you." There are no heroes. Everybody sucks. Nothing matters. Subversive. The Dark Knight. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Rises. That the classic comic book by Frank Miller. Frank Miller's best works, Daredevil Born Again, The Dark Knight Rises, even Batman Year One, people will sometimes put on that list as one of his masterpieces. Frank Miller's best works are actually Superversive. The Dark Knight Rises, for all of its darkness, is a Superversive work. You know, it's about Batman coming out of retirement in a Gotham City that has gone dystopian, and he brings back order. You know, it ends with the famous fight with Superman, but both of them survive. Spoilers, guys. But both Batman and Superman survive the fight. They gain an understanding with each other, and Batman is going to bring back civilization and order, and restore Gotham, and eventually the rest of the country to its former glory. That's Superversion, right? That's the opposite of Watchmen. Daredevil Born Again is, I think, Frank Miller's masterpiece. I've written an article on it before. It is a deeply Catholic work that is part of the decon recon subgenre, in that it deconstructs things and then it builds them back up again. Daredevil Born Again is another Superversive masterpiece. It's about Daredevil slowly losing his mind as the Kingpin figures out his secret identity and then starts to unravel his life. So he, in an clearly unstable mental state, decides to take Kingpin on in a fight and gets absolutely trashed, stuffed into a car, has a stick is stuck on the brake, and the car is shoved into the river after he's doused in, or a stick is shoved onto the gas, and then the car is shot into a river after Daredevil is doused in alcohol. So it looks like he got drunk and drove off into the water. And the story, though, and a subversive story would have ended there. The superversive story has Matt escaping from the car. He recovers in a nunnery. A nun finds him. The nun happens to be his mother, which we learn in the story, and nurses Matt back to health. He goes back. He rescues his ex-girlfriend Karen Page, who has gone on drugs and done porn movies and has just made her way back to the States to apologize, because she is the one who sold out Matt's secret identity to the Kingpin. The Kingpin, meanwhile, wants to know what Matt is doing. The point being that Matt comes back and he realizes what's important. He loses all of the material things in his life, but he recognizes that you could destroy the body and you can get rid of the material possessions, but his soul is safe and the Kingpin can't touch it. And that is the message of Daredevil Born Again, Superversive story.
Cordell Mitchell and Bradford Walker say hello.
Hello, folks.
That is a fantastic explanation.
That should hopefully help people who don't know the concept well yet understand somewhat, a little bit better what we're talking about when we discuss if something is superversive or not. Very hard to hear me. I have a new microphone. I tested it on Audacity. It sounded fine.
No, it's probably me.
Fix it.
It's probably me.
Ben, fix it.
It's probably me. There we go.
Is this better?
You were never the problem.
Yeah, but I need to know if it's working now.
It's always been working. It's just faint. I don't know what's wrong with it. The problem is that it doesn't give me a good test for how loud anything is. So,
I even used Audacity right before.
It's not you.
So I don't know.
How many times do I have to say it's not you? Can you even hear what I'm saying?
I can hear what you're saying. I still want it to work, though.
It's not your microphone. It's my microphone.
Megabuster Shepherd says it's mine.
Oh, really? All right.
Yes.
Mind.
Maybe that was... I think we were talking past each other a little bit.
Honestly, I completely blanked that he said Anthony.
Megabuster Shepherd does say Anthony sounds better, so I don't know. You know what? Just take the W.
Imagine.
Move on.
Yeah. What do you...
So, Oh, go ahead.
Nothing.
So, Megabuster Shepard said, sounds like you guys are outside. That's probably because this much better mic is picking up things in the background that my much worse mic was not picking up. I can't do much about that, I'm afraid.
Also, it's too hot for me to turn off my my air conditioner, which is probably what you're hearing in the background. I enjoy it.
Sorry, kids, you're stuck with this.
Behold, a low-effort stream. Don't worry, guys. We'll figure out something more highbrow next week, and then we'll probably do a Pinkerton's Ghost episode with everyone together on Sunday.
Yeah, I was thinking we probably would for the first episode.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Since we're all together. Well, wait. I was talking. Actually, yeah, you're right. You're right. We'll figure it out. We'll honor our agreements to the subscribers. Lovely, lovely subscribers. Anyway.
yay! All right. So, back to the tier list I mentioned earlier. Unlike last time, since I'll be doing the tier list and I am not connected, so you won't get a live shot of it. However, we will post it at the end after I write everything out. Again, to repeat for the latecomers here, we're going to do two things. We're going to talk about an anime. The rule is if it's an anime with multiple seasons, we need to have seen at least one full season. And if it's not an anime with multiple seasons, we need to have seen the whole thing. We're gonna have to play fast and loose with some series that aren't divided into seasons exactly, but it's a good rule of thumb. The second rule is that we will be ranking them into tiers, S to F. Where they are in the tier is going to be. I'm not sure if we should rank within the tiers themselves. I'm not going to do that.
Really.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. It's just going to be tiered. I think, it's on the level of an S tier show, I think is good enough. We'll discuss as we go along if we want to add, like we did with our ranking anime YouTubers stream, if we want to add something like an A+ tier, but I'm not sure if we'll need it right now. So I know I can rattle the S tier shows that I have off the top of my head. I'm curious to see what you'll think. Last thing for the latecomers, we will be talking about whether or not a show should count as superversive, something that's more of an art than a science. We just went through a whole explanation of what superversion is, and we have the website linked in our live chat. So, without further ado, the first show. Now, right off the bat, I am going to say that because of the nature of what we are doing, unlike some people, I do not watch shows that I don't like. I am pretty sure that I will have no F tier shows. Not because there are no F tier shows, obviously, but because if the show is F tier, I probably did not finish it. With that said, I'm thinking if I should start with with my favorite show or my worst show. Let's do one I know that we've both seen and that we both don't like. The Rising of the Shield Hero.
Mm-hmm.
So that is probably the worst show that I actually watched a full season of it. What about you, Ben?
It is probably one of the worst books I've ever finished, because I read the light novel before I ever watched the anime, and thus never watched the anime. So I count it because it's the light novel. I'm getting it from the source. Behold.
That's fair.
The depths of my depravity. I can read.
Let's see.
To me, it's an
I
F
would
tier.
place it. You would put it F tier?
Yep.
I would put it D tier. I think there are moments in it that work.
So
I don't think it's a total. I don't know if it's a total lost cause. Like, there is nothing in the Rising of the Shield Hero that is of any value. There are moments in it that work.
Sure.
What's your case for F tier?
So, hold on a second. Let me grab the chats real quick. ripped RIP based Japan. Katakawa Comics took the Kool-Aid, says they would be more mindful of Western ethics when it comes to accepting manga in the future. Rawl said it was only a matter of time. Mammon leads to death cult as surely as any other route. You're both absolutely correct, and we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I honestly don't know if they're even in tune enough with Western culture for it to seriously affect them, but maybe that's what this will lead to. We'll see.
And even then, like saying, oh yeah, we'll be mindful of Western culture, and then completely ignoring Western culture is in the Japanese toolbox. So it's not as serious as it sounds. Anyway, here's my argument for F tier. The only redeemable thing within it is its magic system, which honestly is merely functional, despite what people say about how brilliant it is, with its combinations and other things that it supposedly does. I would actually make a very strong argument that the magic system is actually cringe. His relationship with his pseudo daughter, wife, lover thing, cringe, especially since he bought her as a slave.
Yeah.
His reaction to women is understandable and based, but sadly he takes it too far and is cringe. It's cringe all the way down. And I'm joking, I'm making it humorous, but in all seriousness, he is a character who has no real redeeming qualities that aren't naturally found in the most generic human copy cutter. God literally made this as the mold sort of thing.
So here's my argument for D tier. There are moments in the show where the premise works. When the Shield Bro, early on in the show...
But we're both students of Digibro. And what does he say about premise?
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying the premise works.
Ah.
It's a good premise that I think, on occasion, works. When Shield Bro works, it works when they lean into the premise. When Shield Bro is actually unlucky. When Shield Bro, things are actually going badly for him. When he really is being screwed over by society, the premise works. This happened, from my recollection in the show, twice. There were exactly 2 times in all of Shield Hero where he was genuinely unlucky and screwed over. When he first entered and he gets the whole rape accusation thing. And then later when he, after he wins the fight, there's a moment where everybody turns on him and he has to go on the run, and then Spear Bro and Princess Bitch set the forest on fire as they go after him. Those 2 things worked very well, and those 2 arcs, I was genuinely invested for the short period of time until I realized that things were going to go very easily for him after that, which is what happened, by the way. He really did not have to struggle that much, all things considered.
So my counter argument to that is that whatever manufactured problems any protagonist may have, if it's designed for him to go after it too easily and there's no tension to it, and I never felt any tension for Shield Hero, it does not matter what the actual events of the screwing or whatever are. He cannot fail it.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. But the thing is, in the first arc, which is the first time that I was invested in the story, you don't know that yet. Sure. You only figure that out, you figure that out, when he gets into the race, after he gets chicken lolly. Yeah, horrendous.
You keep describing cringe.
Don't get... Oh, yeah, this is a D-tier show. I hated Shield Hero. It was terrible.
Right.
My defense of Shield Hero is an extremely lukewarm defense.
Fair.
It was that at one time there was a point where the show could have worked.
All right, let's do.
And that could... that puts it above, I think, like the worst of the worst,
Sure.
but only barely.
All right.
So
Mhm.
I am going to put Shield Hero in the. I'm going to stick it in the D tier, but with a note that you dissent.
We can
So
put this lower. All right. How about Saga of Tanya the Evil?
hold on, we're not quite done with Shield Hero. Not that we
We're
need to
beating
say
this
it, but
dead horse.
no, not that we need to say it, but it's not Superversive. Yes.
Right. Oh, absolutely, absolutely not Superversive. So I'll say this: like, the thing with Shield Hero and Superversion is that Superversive stuff has to have certain outs that are innate to the work of art. Like, a Superversive piece of art will have Superversive options within it to take that our hero will take, or that um, affect things. Like, it's like a piece of cooking. It's the whole meal, not necessarily one or two things. It doesn't matter that you have an anti-hero, as long as, the guy is actually a hero. He's just, a little bit sour about it. A sour hero can be a superversive hero. It just depends on how it is. Like, I would say that
Yeah,
Rorschach is
exactly.
very cynical, but he's also, very heroic.
From Watchmen?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rorschach in Watchmen is an interesting character because he went in a direction that Alan Moore explicitly said he did not intend. The thing is that he is the only character in the story with a moral compass and and any sort of principles, so you will naturally gravitate towards him.
Yep.
I don't think that that's enough to make Watchmen superversive. In
No.
fact, I would argue strongly against it. But it does mean that there is something to the story, right? There's some substance there,
Yeah.
even if it's something that Alan Moore did not intend. Which is very interesting, but yeah, no, you're right. So you're absolutely correct. Shield Hero is not superversive. It's an ugly, ugly story with with lolly baiting and perversion. Things that I do not have a sense of humor about when it comes to Japanese media, and that I don't like the attitude among other weebs and otaku and people like that. When they talk about it, I do not have a sense of humor about lolly baiting or perversion in Japanese media. It is cringe,
Based.
and it should not be defended. No, based.
Based
Speaking of
opinion.
lollies, right? Saga of Tanya the Evil, like you said.
For me, that
Yeah, go ahead. You go first.
solid B tier show. Solid, even does things good at times, maybe even like A minus tier, but it is not like any better.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, because I was in the fence. I was in between B tier and A tier. I'm excited for season 3. I do think that the Saga of Tanya the Evil is probably the second best isekai. Maybe third best behind No Game No Life, which we'll get to. But the point is, it's one of the best isekai, but that's just because that the isekai genre, at least the modern isekai genre, is so bad. But
Yep.
I think that B tier is definitely fair. It's a recommendation for sure. I really enjoy it. It's a fun show. I think going back to, I know that Digibro says the premise is the least important part, but the premise of the Saga of Tanya the Evil is so brilliant that it actually is one of those things that annoys me because I wish I thought of it. That some smarmy asshole man, so mildly sociopathic manager manages to piss off God, so he sticks him in another world as basically like the lowest possible, as low as possible on the totem pole to try and intentionally get him killed.
Government chattel.
Exactly. It is a genius idea and deserves credit. And you know what? It executes its premise. It gives exactly what it promises it will give you, but no more.
Yep.
So, yes, Saga of Tanya the Evil, solid. It is a solidly B tier show. Recommended. No better than that. Is it superversive? I would argue no, but it's also doesn't really care much either way.
It is an interesting story, and it does have shades of it that will not offend the superversive mindset, and it never says that moral people are actually evil or anything like that. We're watching a sociopath uh, try to survive as God makes life harder for him
So,
because he.
the most interesting thing about the philosophy of Saga of Tanya the Evil is that Tanya herself, the main character, in some ways is actually saving lives with her methods. Because remember, her goal the whole time is just to survive, meaning she wants the war to end. So her methods are brutal, but she's the one who wants them to negotiate peace treaties. She's the one who is trying to end battles quickly so that there isn't any more fighting. She's trying to make sure that there's no more bloodshed than there absolutely has to be. Tanya is called Tanya the Evil, but she's not Tanya the Bloodthirsty. She's Tanya the Ruthless. She will do anything to accomplish her goals. But she won't do more than that. Like, she won't torture you she will torture you in a heartbeat. She won't care. She will do it. She will laugh about it later. But she won't do it just because. There needs to be a purpose behind it, which in some ways makes her more moral. That's the interesting part of the story. That's also somewhat subversive. So I don't know what you're really supposed to think of Tanya.
Right. If she was the villain of a story, the story would likely turn out to be very superversive.
Yes, agreed. Like, the movie introduces a character, Mary Sue, of Not America. Like, I don't even remember the name of the fictional country. It was Not America, and the character was hilariously actually named Mary Sue, which is a great joke. So her whole thing though was that, like, she was, the greatest soldier of that country, and she was going to go in, and she has a grudge against Tanya because Tanya, like, killed her father in a battle or something. And
Yep.
there's a scene at the end of the movie where they're fighting each other, and Tanya is like, "Why do you hate me so much? Like, I don't even know who you are." And Mary Sue has, like, lost it and is going after and is just ripping into Tanya. And Tanya's just kind of like, leave me alone. I don't care about, I don't even care about you. And
Beautiful.
she's like, "You don't even remember what you did." But it's an interesting contrast because in theory, should be the good guy, right? Because
Right.
it's Tanya the evil, you know.
They're playing with
But
our
she's the more ruthless
expectations.
between the two of them. She's the one who's pushing for right, and Tanya is the one who just wants the war to end. So, in a way, that is actually kind of a subversive message. So, in terms of is Tanya the evil superversive, I would say it is not superversive. However, it is not anti-civilization in the same way that, like, Watchmen is. It's
Right.
not subversive of, like, the very fabric of the social order that keeps society afloat. It's
It
more just about the morality of people in wartime.
Yeah. It won't corrupt your children to watch it, other than the fact that you're showing your children anime at a formula of age, and that's child abuse. That isn't One Piece.
Obviously. Uh, Alright, so we're going to put that B tier, not superversive, but not dangerously subversive. Watch with if you're going to show it to a child, make sure you're watching it with them so that you could talk about what the show is trying to say.
So when she decapitated that guy, what did you think, kid? I want to
Yeah,
torture
right?
dogs. Good boy.
Exactly. So let's stick with Isekai then, since we started out there. Let's go with
The
the No
soundtrack,
Game
though.
No. What was that?
The soundtracks, though. The soundtrack for this one and probably the next one we'll talk about are really good.
I was gonna say No Game No Life,
Yes, I know.
which it does have a great soundtrack. And it has great visuals. No Game No Life is a great show. I would put it in the probably. It's not quite S tier. I would put it in the A tier. How about you?
I would say S tier. Honestly, it's an S tier anime for me. It's actually one of the few anime I've gone back to watch, which is actually kind of rare for me.
Interesting. So here is why I would not quite, and I would. It's close because it's very good, but here is why I would not quite put it into the S tier.
Hmm.
Uh, the reason that I don't think that No Game No Life is an S tier anime is that I don't think that there is enough depth to it. There is depth. It's there. It exists. And like Digibro has that great video on it. No Game No Life is deeper than you think, which I encourage anyone interested in the show to watch. It
Yep.
really gets into the heart of the series and the otaku hero's journey, of which No Game No Life is an almost perfect distillation of. In fact, in some ways, it's like the otaku hero's journey distilled down to its finest elements. Everything is broken down into very clear archetypes in this show to fit in the otaku hero's journey formula. So there is depth there, but ultimately, I think that the message that the show is trying to send is a shallow one. It is not a message that impresses me.
Okay.
And that is because No Game No Life, of course, is not superversive. It's definitely not, I would argue. What do you think?
Why not superversive? What makes it subversive? Or what makes it not superversive? Where's its flaw?
So I would argue that where it goes against the superversive ethos is in its choice of main characters.
Ah.
Now, in the main characters of Sora and Shiro have, and by the way, No Game No Life, I think, I'm going to say in advance, it manages to pull this off because No Game No Life, and when I rewatched it, like you did, I realized this is actually really, really funny. Like,
Yes.
it's actually hilarious. I didn't even fully appreciate it the first time I saw it. When I watched it again, I was like, way more jokes work than I originally remembered. Like, most of the jokes in the show land. It's actually very funny. With that said, Sora and Shiro are really creepy weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
Sora is a very bad person. I mean, to be honest.
Sure.
He ends up helping the people throughout the story, but the reason that he ends up helping people explicitly that he states is that it's how you win the game, and he wants to win the game. Now you could argue that he's pulling something like what Senku does, which is that, really he does want to help people, and he's just saying that because he's too prideful or whatever. But that doesn't explain his creepy pseudo-incestuous relationship with his sister.
Right.
Uh, and the creepy pseudo-incestuous thing is one thing, because technically, actually they are adopted. But she is
Actually.
a minor, right?
Right. Yes.
But she is a minor, explicitly, very clearly, and they emphasize this. It is very much part of the package that she is a minor.
Hmm.
Now, weirdly, No Game No Life Zero actually kind of makes me feel better about this if you watch that movie, because he actually marries not not Shiro. Because they had different names, but they were the same people. He marries not Shiro in No Game No Life, but they explicitly state that it's something like a meeting of the minds, and that they are perfectly suited for each other, but there is absolutely no sexual contact. And they go out of their way to say this in the movie.
Right.
So if Sora and Shiro in the No Game No Life show are meant to be a mirror of them, which I think they probably are, then okay, I guess that's a little bit better. But Sora is a creepy, creepy dude.
Okay, I accept it.
The way he treats Steph is creepy, and his philosophy, frankly, is kind of weird. So the philosophy of the otaku hero's journey is that the people who are at the bottom of the society, when they are given the chance to shape things for themselves, are going to do it in a way that is better for everybody involved. Now, I would subdivide the otaku hero's journey into the Omega and the Sigma hero's journeys.
I always thought it was
And this is very much
Gamma or Sigma.
I would argue. No, I would definitely argue Omega. And both the Omega and the Sigma are people who are on the outside of society.
Okay. I won't.
The Gamma is not.
I getcha. It's one of those things where, like, I think part of it is, no. Okay, no, you're right. You're right. Because it's about striking back, not subverting for one's own end.
So, for all of these reasons, I think that as good as No Game No Life is, I would not quite put it in the S. I would put it in the A tier. Megabuster Shepherd says, all these shows would be so much better without the pseudo-pornographic content.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Here's the thing about No Game No Life, though. No Game No Life is a comedy, and one thing is that you are supposed to think that Sora and Shiro are weird and creepy. Like, I don't think you're supposed to think that what they're doing is okay, necessarily. You know, they go out of their way with that. So, no. With that said, yes. Also, yes. But I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, at least. You know, as much as I want to just go, yeah, it would totally just be better. You know, if you took it out. It's also like a big joke in the show, and honestly, the joke can hit home pretty well at times. Like, sometimes it's pretty funny. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, it would at the very least be more palatable. They would have to change the jokes around a lot. So, okay, I don't want to spend too long on one thing. Let's go to the next isekai. My favorite, so, Log Horizon.
Yep.
But, is it S tier?
Yes.
It's very close. I normally don't rank it with my S tier shows, but when I think it over, it becomes pretty hard not to make it S tier. So, Log Horizon, I think, is superior to No Game No Life because, first, for the sheer quantity of ideas that it has. So, it explores so many different ideas. It has a real philosophical thread running through it, namely arch libertarianism explored in a large scale, but without
right
being
back.
No problem. But without being cringe. So, Log Horizon has a philosophical core running through it. It's also emotionally honest in the way that almost no other isekai is. Log Horizon is actually honest with its characters. There is a wonderful scene where we learn that the people who are stuck in this video game world are actually deeply, deeply messed up people. This is really important. So, my favorite is Along Came a Spider. If you're referring to isekai, are you referring to the recent Spider isekai? Because I found that okay, but we'll talk about that later. To go into Log Horizon a little bit more, what I really admire about Log Horizon is that, you know, for somebody to be this obsessed with an MMO, that they can get trapped in it and they're just kind of okay with it, it implies that there must be something deeply messed up about their life. If you are a person like Akatsuki, who embodies, you know, ninja role-playing to the degree that she gives up her former identity and now, like, identifies as a ninja, you know, that implies, again, that there was something messed up about your previous life that led you here. And sure enough, we learn in a brilliant, one of the more brilliant scenes of the show from season 2, that Shiro, when he was back on Earth, you know, before he got stuck in the Log Horizon world, he had been at one point suicidal and was escaping into the game to get away from that. And that Akatsuki was getting hit on her lolly status instead of being something that made her, waifu bait among the creepy fans of the show. In the real world, was having her get hit on frequently by pedophiles, and that she felt overlooked and unappreciated by everybody around her because of how small and insignificant she was in the real world. So these are deeply messed up people, and we know that they're deeply messed up people. The other thing, though, is that it's about these people. Caleb, how much did you hear?
Oh, dude, we've had this conversation before. We're good.
Yeah, that's true. So the point is that Log Horizon does so much stuff well. It's never honestly been like on my personal list of absolute favorite. I would immediately put it in the S tier if I was thinking it through and I just said, yep, S tier. But I might have to put it there just because of the sheer number of things that it does well. How about you?
Yeah, S tier for me. And I do believe it's Superversive.
Yes, I would argue that it is Superversive as well. So Log Horizon is interesting too, because it is Superversive, but like No Game No Life, it is also, I think, is it an Omega Otaku Hero's Journey? The difference between it and Log Horizon is the emotional honesty that it has with its characters. No Game No Life plays it for laughs, and don't get me wrong, it works. The comedy works. But Log Horizon plays it for honesty, and it plays it for, actual insight into its characters, which I think is the better approach, ultimately, if you're going to be judging them right next to each other. Would it be an Omega or a Sigma Otaku Hero's Journey is the real question. Remembering that Shiro in the real world was suicidal.
So, it's heavily implied that Omegas tend to have an obsession or a series of ideas. In the modern era, it is, of course, the pop cult. They are probably the most devoted portion of it because it gives them meaning and makes them feel like heroes, which is something they sorely lack. Much like how a Delta will pursue sports ball or an Alpha will pursue business acumen and so on and so forth. It's a little obsession. A video game, this or that, and they can even find wives. Like how many times do we have to hear about some sort of WoW themed wedding? It's an Omega and the Omega equivalent of a woman getting together. That's what it is. So I would say that in game he acts like a Sigma. Outside of game, he is an Omega.
Yes. So in game, that's one of the great things about Log Horizon, though. It's about people getting second chances and taking them and running them, which is one of the reasons, and running with them, which is one of the reasons it's Superversive. Mm-hmm. There is a great moment at the end of season 2 where it's a terrific misdirect. They make it through a dungeon and they have it set up like there's going to be this emotional thing where they all need to accept that one day they need to leave the game behind, and go back to Earth, right? Like. Mm-hmm. They got to accept it, as much as they love it here, there are good things about it, sure, but ultimately, it's the game world. You need to grow up and go to the real world. Then Shiro talks to if you know your Otaku Hero's Journey, or the mad scientist to his living computer. And I forget her name off the top of my head, because she's actually like a minor character in the show, even though she's important to the narrative. But Shiro was finally able to speak with her, and she has a son in the real world that she's waiting on. And she says to him casually in conversation, a very mad scientist thing to say, that she can't wait to show her son, the Log Horizon world. And Shiro stops for a moment and goes, "Wait, what did you just say?" He goes, "I can't wait to show my son the Log Horizon world." I go, "You don't want to go back to Earth?" He goes, "Yeah, I want to go back to Earth. Why wouldn't I want to go back to Earth?" He goes, "Then what do you mean you want to show your son the Log Horizon world?" He goes, "I figured that I could just take him here then, later." And then Shiro realizes that they were thinking of this all wrong. That they were thinking of it as you need to have one or the other, when why not just try and have both? You know what? They're gamers. They could do, in the Log Horizon world, they're basically elves. They could do whatever they want. So they're going to try and have it all. They're going to try and have the game, and they're going to get back to Earth. And they're going to make everybody, and they're going to create a world where everybody wins, which is, of course, the heart of the otaku hero's journey.
So it's like the mysterious elves came through our village. They stood on our dressing tables for some reason and took every loaf of bread. They then they then proceeded to use our anvil for 15 minutes, talked to nobody, and then left. Very strange. One of them built a house and never lived in it. It has one bed.
So here's a question: have you ever watched any other isekai in full, outside of comedy and outside of old isekai that is not, that's different from the modern? I'm not sure that I have. Yeah. Konosuba, of course, is a comedy. By the way, Konosuba, S tier, not superversive, but hilarious. I don't think there's much to discuss there. If you think it's funny, you think it's funny, and Konosuba is really funny. It is not trying to be superversive, and it is not superversive.
So, what do you call the 12 Kingdoms?
I call it a show that I've never seen.
Okay. But do you count it as an isekai? As a modern isekai?
It's, maybe depending on when it was made, but it's definitely in the tone and the tenor, which tends to be very gamey.
It was the mother or grandmother of it. I would call it C tier. It's decent. I never really went back to it except once.
I'll put that in the C tier. 12 Kingdoms. Is it superversive? We'll take your word for it. Then
only to a Chinese person.
Ah.
Specifically Chinese, even Japanese.
Should I ask you to elaborate, or are we just going to go refuse to elaborate and move on?
No. Actually, I do need to elaborate. So, essentially, we follow the Christian Superversive movement. Even though there are no other Superversive movements, our entire ethos is based on Christianity, Christendom, and the Lord God. However, Chinese and other groups have their own values that would put on it. If I would say what would a Muslim superversive story be, it would be something like from Arabian Nights, where the prince overcomes many trials and becomes the king and gets everything he ever wanted, and there's peace in the kingdom, and the people are happy. What makes it superversive would not be how good he is. He would actually be a cruel king, as even their best kings were. Saladin was as vicious as any other king of his era. He just knew how to treat his enemies well, and it paid off for him, since he didn't create outrage that would have caused another crusade on his doorstep immediately. And even though the Crusaders were weird and easily shoved off, they're still the best soldiers in the world at the time. Literally trained from birth to fight in heavy armor and are religiously fanatical to push back against those who weren't them. He had a large amount of statecraft. The Chinese one is about order and society and having the appropriate king and having the mandate of heaven. I.e., it is not about whether or not one is virtuous or moral, or that one gets what one wants and lives justly before Allah, but rather that one rules properly and orderly, and that the kingdom is prosperous and the rivers are properly managed.
Interesting.
So even though I would not call it a superversive story in the sense of Christendom, I would say that from the Chinese Asian perspective, it is a superversive story. It has nothing offensive to Christianity in it, and it does not subvert much of anything. Except evil rules.
12 Kingdoms, superversive, but only to the Chinese.
Yep. It has heroism and stuff in it. Like, it's genuinely a good story, and has nothing I would call subversive to Christianity. If it was subversive to Christianity, I would not qualify it in any way as superversive. as far as I remember. How about...
Keijo, F. Never mind, I forgot about Keijo.
What's Keijo?
The tit ball show.
No!
One where you have...
I've watched it more than some of your S tiers.
I'm putting that in the F tier and you can't stop me.
That's what I get
Alright,
for
I'm gonna
giving
put
up the list.
Keijo. Ben... I'll write Ben Descents.
Alright, how
What,
about...
A? Ben Descents, A.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not Superversive. I refuse. I won't do it. I won't call it Superversive. You can't make me.
It's true.
You
There's
can't
no
make
really...
me do it.
It's just a sports anime.
Sports anime can be Superversive, but
Sure.
that is not it. Want to move on to sports anime since we brought up Keijo?
Sure.
Have you watched any seasons of Haikyuu?
No.
I have watched 2. I would put it solid B tier. Yes, it is Superversive.
So how about this? Little Busters, F. Not Superversive.
What is Little Busters?
It is one of the I think it's one of the visual novels turned into an anime. It's about these baseball lovers being weird with each other. Except the problem is that their interpersonal drama is very ill managed, and the twist concerning time loops is utterly stupid. It is offensive on every level, and even though I won't say I finished it to the last second, I did read the ending, and I know how the ending's gonna go. And it's that typical coma BS, and so I rebuke it. I rebuke it, I tell you.
Yes. Very well. Little Busters is F tier, not Superversive. So we've got 2 descents. Shield Hero is D with Ben descends to F. Keijo is F and Ben descends to A.
Yep.
But everything else we're in agreement so far.
Yep, and it's Descent is fine, but it's about for why and what reasons, which is what this live stream is going to document.
Yes. All right. Have you watched any of Kuroko no Basuke?
Nope.
I have. I love Kuroko. A tier. Yes, it's Superversive. It's Superversive in a very standard, typical sports anime type way, but, it executes on the fundamentals well. I'm a huge Kuroko no Basuke fan. I've pushed it before. I think it is better than Haikyuu. So, Kuroko no Basuke. Superversive. Honestly, I think it's better from Haikyuu, and again, I know that premise is the least important part, but all the way down to the premise phase. Like, what sounds cooler to you? A kid who is short wants to play volleyball? Or, long ago, the generation of miracles arose through the high school system, and a lone player came from America to team up with a kid who has the power to turn invisible in the middle of basketball games to engage in JoJo-style basketball battles to decide who will be the number 1 team, and if they could take down the generation of miracles. One just sounds cooler. Kuroko's better. I think I'm in the minority on that, though.
I mean, Kuroko no Basket does sound cooler, especially when you described it as JoJo-like battles and such like. And it's like,
That is 100% what they are. They have their powers are so over the top and ridiculous that they're essentially the equivalent of stands. And they don't really follow the rules of basketball, even though they claim they do. Because it's an anime. They even follow JoJo time. There are 4 seconds left. Let's have a conversation.
But they're having a conversation through their spirits.
Yes.
You're
talking
right.
Talking is a free action.
I do follow that though, like in my writing, but I also avoid timers. So it's like in general, a character can have a philosophical conversation with another. I usually pair it up with a fight, like in one of my stories where basically they
That's
have
fair.
to wrestle the werewolves, except the werewolves will like tempt you into despair while they're doing it, and if you give in, they will just eat you. So you have to, like not quote scripture at them, but like
Look,
basically say,
Jotaro versus Dio is legitimately one of the fight scenes in the history of manga and anime. With that said, the timer in that fight is straight busted. It does not work.
"This is meaningless."
He's just going one, walks 5 feet while laughing. Clearly, at least 3 seconds have passed. Two, like, why are you even counting at this point? But okay. Anyway, that's Kuroko no Basket. I recommend it highly. Let's see. Any other sports anime that I have actually watched in full? Yes, one. Run with the Wind. Have you seen that or no?
No.
For me, Run with the Wind, it's an Alexander favorite. It's one of his all-time favorite shows. But Run with the Wind is ruined a little bit for me for this reason. I used to run in high school, right? I ran cross country.
Mm-hmm.
And that nobody on that team quit is wildly unrealistic to me. Like, especially because the running that they were doing was extraordinarily difficult running. On the cross country team in high school, I ran 5Ks. So that's 3.1 miles. Those were the races, right?
Right.
Not that long, really, in the end. They take about 20 minutes, give or take. That's a good time, 20 minutes. If you break 20, you've done pretty well. The very, very best runners are going to be like the 15-minute range, and these are the ones who are going to be winning, So they were running 10-mile races. And they were people who had never run before and were in college. There is no way that there would not have been at least one person who quit. I don't believe it. I do not buy it. The fact that they were all able to do it, like the amount of running that they had to do to get into shape to finish in the end in 10th place in the big relay race at the end of the show, the amount of running that they would have had to do to get into that shape is just insane. It's an incredible amount of running, and they were not prepared for it. They did not want to do it. They were not runners. They were not athletes. They were blackmailed into it. There's no way it would have happened like that. Worst comes to worst, one of them would have rebelled by saying, "All right, you said we have to run with you unless you're going to kick us out. Fine, I'll just walk every meet that we go to. I'm not going to put the full effort into this shit." So I just cannot buy it. That kind of hurts the show a lot for me. That I'm in between the C tier and the B tier. I will hesitantly put it in B tier, but it's hanging on the edge there. It's a fine show. I don't hate it. But that aspect of it really makes me go, something doesn't work about this. Is it superversive? Yes, I would say so. It's all about them, finding the reasons they run, and then ultimately about finding their reasons for living and in life. Perfectly
Classic.
wholesome stuff. Wholesome stuff, superversive, yes. B tier. We have a request, and I was thinking of this, but Escaflowne. Escaflowne is an isekai, however, it is of the old style isekai, and that is so different in tone and style from modern SAO onward style isekai. I consider different genre. I think it's a solid B tier show.
No contest. I haven't really watched it, but I've seen some episodes of it, and it's pretty good. It's on the list of, if I get an opportunity to, I will watch it guaranteed.
So, Vision of Escaflowne has a brilliant Yoko Kanno soundtrack. It has a very good dub. The animation is good. The ideas are good. It is a good show. but there are some plot issues. Like the plot doesn't really hold up, to be honest. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, it's good. It's B tier. It's solid B tier though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it superversive? I would say that it is. It's a romance. There's a love triangle. Uh, I mean, it's superversive, but it's superversive in a very basic way. Like there's nothing
Right.
subversive about it. It's wholesome. It gets dark. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely dark things and themes that happen in it, but I enjoy it. So yes, Vision of Escaflowne, good show. Recommend. Superversive. Megabuster Shepherd says I just prefer the animation. That is fair. It does look very good. So, are there any sports anime that you have seen that I'm missing right now?
Let me see something real quick.
Go ahead.
TV tropes. The problem with using let's see here. There's a baseball anime I saw that was pretty. That was like a C tier, but it was better. But it was I don't enjoy. Uh, I don't enjoy much like kind of while we're doing this Fooly Cooly.
Fooly Cooly, I have tried to watch at least 3 different times, and I have never made it past the second episode. I can't do it. I can't.
It's about a C
So,
tier for me.
alright. I'll stick it in the C tier. Uh, honestly, that's a low rank. Is it superversive?
No.
No. So, not superversive.
I am. I know Ken likes Major.
I have not seen Major, so I can't comment.
Fair.
If Ken were on, I'm sure I would probably be S tier.
Was
But
it Ace of Diamond?
Ace of Diamond was one of them. Never saw it. And there was a show called Ace of Diamond. I did see like most of Major's second, which was of like the first season of Major's second.
Yeah.
And I did not like the main character, but it was weird because like Major Second was a weird show. And here's the thing: it was well written. Like the main character's motivations made sense. His backstory made sense. His actions made sense. I just did not like him. Like, I could imagine easily somebody watching the show relating to the main character in some way and thus enjoying the show. And I wouldn't really have an argument as to, like, it being objectively bad. It wasn't. He just didn't click with me. I found him whiny. But, at the same time, as Ken pointed out to me, like, the fact that he is like this is a perfectly believable.
Don't worry, he'll come back in a second.
Megabuster Shep.
Yeah.
I heard on your end my voice suddenly come in a rush. Pretty funny.
It happens.
Yeah. But have you heard of Tenchi Muyo? Because I have not.
I have not watched it. I know of it. It's okay. It's a product of its times. Honestly, it's not nearly as good as everyone says. Like I don't even watch it. Like I am put off by the premise itself.
Megabuster Shepherd says he cut out. It's on delay. I'll cut back in a moment.
No, you just cut out and it's not coming back in. It's just gone. I don't know what happened.
It's gone.
All right, let's. Ooh, hold on. Let's. I'm just gonna go through Ace and we'll do a rapid fire. Okay. Sports, excuse me.
Sounds good.
And I'm only gonna do ones I recognize. Did you ever watch iShield 21?
Like 2 episodes of it, not a full show. Can't
Okay,
rank.
never mind. Giant Killing.
I don't know it.
Alright. I said Ace of Diamond was like a C, B tier, B tier, I'd say.
So, Ace of Diamond, I'll stick in the B tier. Is it Superversive?
Yes, it's about society and civilization and sort of like moving on to your life and making things. The problem is that I swear there's a baseball anime that never gets talked about that I watched. That's about like a dead kid and everyone's reaction to it, but at the same time them moving on with their lives. But at the same time, I just don't find it.
That sounds suspiciously like Anohana.
With baseball though,
Yeah, it sounds. No,
was a
you're right.
52
It sounds
was a
like
52
Anohana with
season.
baseball.
Anyway, boxing, Megalobox.
Not a fan of the aesthetic. I know that Megalobox is loved. I watched 1 episode. I didn't like the aesthetic very much. I don't like the rap music in it. I know that
Really?
people adore that soundtrack, but I'm just not a fan.
It's a B for me. Tomorrow's Joe. Ashita no Joe.
Nope, never seen.
Alright, Yu-Gi-Oh!
By the way, Megalobox Superversive.
Ooh. I won't make a distinction. I can't tell. There's nothing subversive about it. Actually, I would say it's superversive because it's about a man more or less trying to do things the right and proper way and not use a machine to boost himself up, as well as rise to the top.
So I know that Alexander has been really pushing that Megalobox Nomad is actually a masterpiece, which is season 2 of Megalobox. So if you liked Megalobox, it might be worth it for you to check that out.
I'm waiting for the dub to come in. Yuri on Ice.
That's fair. No.
Okay. It's a D tier for me. It is not superversive.
Not superversive.
So there's a bunch of anime I've watched just because I was in the same room as. Bamboo Blade. I actually like that. That's a solid B for me.
What's that about?
It is kendo with a bunch of cute girls and all the good stuff. And it's funny because one character has there's like a master and various characters in the rival, and there's this funny, really funny character who's like, the prim and proper lady and stuff like that. But then they're like, oh wow, she has a boyfriend and all that jazz. So the joke is that, he's got to be pretty impressive, and of course he's just this short, fat dude who's like barely animated. He can't even ride a bike because his legs are too short in universe, and so on and so forth. But it's like he's smart, good artist, and stuff like that. And like for some reason, the chicks get attracted to him. It's absolutely hilarious. I just find it very funny, and it has good stuff. Is it superversive? It's not subversive.
So I'm going to put that as not concerned.
Yep.
Yeah, Bamboo Blade, not concerned with being superversive or not superversive.
It's
okay.
It's about the the interactions between the students and stuff like that, and it says nothing about society, or they don't even really push for anything.
So, as far as sports anime, I was thinking it over. There are really only 2 others I've watched. They're only debatably sports anime. One of them is Shihaya Furu. Have you seen Shihaya Furu?
Don't recognize it.
It's about it's about a teenage girl who's really good at a game called Ruda, and it's a love triangle thing. It's actually shockingly good.
Okay.
Like, way better than it has any right to be good. I'm in between the B tier and the A tier with this one. I'm probably going to stick it in the B tier because, it's not really the genre that I normally, like that rom-com type thing. John C. Wright has written about the live-action movies that they made of Shihaya Furu,
Yep.
uh,
Let,
and I know that he enjoyed them.
I get you. Let's keep moving. Did you ever watch Akagi, Saki, or The Legend of Koizumi for Mahjong?
No.
Okay. Koizumi is
By the way,
pretty funny.
Shihaya Furu, Superversive, yes.
Awesome.
It's very standard Superversive, but it's Superversive.
Alright, so table tennis. Did you watch ping pong?
Oh, there is a good one, yes. Yes, I did. I watched it twice, in fact, because I was desperately trying to understand why everybody adored it. And I still don't.
Okay.
It's probably low B to high C tier to me. I'm guessing B. Probably B tier.
Go for it.
Would you agree with that, or would
Yeah.
you put it higher?
It's
Okay.
it's
It's
I
certainly Superversive.
right. I like it a lot for its inventive animation.
See, I hate the animation, but I appreciate the style. If that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, it's not for me, but I appreciate that he was going for it, you know? He went for it,
He
and
went for
I
it.
appreciate that.
You need that confidence. Did you ever watch Immortal Grand Prix?
No.
That is a solid B tier, and I cannot. It's so I watched it when I was a kid. I cannot remember whether it's Superversive or not, but since it's shonen, we could say so. Probably say so. Ignoring movies.
Yeah.
Skate the Infinity. I liked it. It's a solid.
Didn't
A
finish
tier.
the full. I didn't finish the full season.
Okay.
So I can't say for sure. I want to, by the way. It ended up becoming the Funimation app because it's completely broken. Started crashing on me, and I literally couldn't for
Yeah.
a while. And I could pirate it, of course. I mean, watch it through
Sail the high
completely
seas.
legal means. Yeah, I could sail the high seas for it, but doing it on my laptop is inconvenient for a variety of reasons. And I'm just kind of hoping that one day I could get that to work. I will end up finishing it one day, though, definitely. If you're wondering, that's the main reason that I haven't keeping up with anime lately, honestly, is technical issues. More than anything else, because there is stuff that I actually am interested in watching that's coming out. But technical issues have prevented it. So Skate the Infinity, though, I will stick that in the A tier. I haven't finished it, but I watched a good deal of it. I could believe it will be in the A tier. And I know that from what I've seen, that's Superversive, unless they went in some wildly Gainax shit for its, some wild Gainax shit for its ending. It's Superversive.
Yeah.
It's Superversive.
All right. Free. That is a solid D tier. Unless you want.
My sister watched it. She basically said, it's there for the pretty boys. That's it.
Yeah. That's why it's a D tier, because I'm not gay.
Yeah, free, not Superversive for Yori. Is it Yori, by the way?
It's Yao. This innocent
Yaoi.
child.
Yaoi, okay.
Yeah. Supernatural martial arts, Baki the Grappler, and would I say, Baki the Grappler? Yes, there's another one. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's got Speedwagon voicing one of the main characters. Was that?
I wouldn't know. I haven't watched Baki. I will one day.
Baki.
It's on the list.
So Baki is kind of difficult to start watching, but just watching the Netflix one is good enough, and I would call it A tier. Honestly, the manga is like S tier for me.
It's Superversive, right?
It is Superversive. It's about a man's relationship to his father and his potential, and his answer is to advance into it.
So, the only other sports anime that I know of, you mentioned the Infinity, which was on the list, that I know that I've seen is the Shogi show, Three Gatsu no Lion. March comes in like a lion.
Never watched it.
I watched it. I have weird mixed feelings about it. I know that people absolutely, like, worship this show. Like, I have seen multiple people, Digibro is one, who think it is legitimately the greatest anime ever made, who just are over the moon about it, and I get it. Aesthetically, it's great to look at. Story-wise, the characters are good and likable and all of that. To me, though, there's something about it that feels a little bit off. Um, I think the fact that it's so melodramatic, it feels almost like a soap opera the way that with how melodramatic it is and how melodramatically things are shot and music they use. Like, dude, you play shogi. It's a game for nerds.
Nerd.
I don't know. There's just something, and I know that that's a shoujo thing. Over dramatic, emotional reactions. So I'm being a little bit unfair. So I will stick it in the A tier with the caveat that it is not a personal favorite of mine, and also that many people would put it in the S tier. Is it superversive? Yes, definitely. No arguments on its superversion. It is an appropriate show for anyone to watch.
Okay,
So,
Kengan Ashura.
never seen it.
Okay, it is equivalent to Baki, and I think that's
A tier?
Yeah, A tier. I don't know any of
Superversive.
those.
Yes.
So finally, fictional sports. We already have our disagreements on Keijo, and the next one is Girls on Panzer, and that is a S tier for me.
Haven't actually seen it, but not because I've been avoiding it. Just never got. I have heard too many good things about it to completely dismiss it, even though the title makes me suspicious that it's going to be degenerate.
It is absolutely not. And as we all know, as the Catholics know, Il Duce is the cutest girl. They have a girl who's like modeling herself after Mussolini, and I haven't the heart to tell her.
I want to watch Girls in Panzer. I will one day, so we'll stick that in the S tier.
Okay. Then we have Eureka 7. I never actually watched Eureka 7, but I got bored with it pretty much after the first episode.
Yes, same, almost exactly the exact same experience. Eureka 7 was one of those, mecha anime that everybody recommended to me. So I watched like the first 2 episodes or something, and I just got completely bored with it. So honestly, it's unfair of me to rank it, I guess, because we said it would be full seasons, but if I did, it would really like
So
C or D.
for me, like it's like if it can't grab me in the first episode, I really don't care. Like it's unfortunate because hey, it was on Cartoon Network, Toonami back in the day. I remember back in the day. Uh, same with IGPX. So it's like it's one of those things where, dang it, I dig it, I understand, I accept this, but I don't think it was nearly as good as everyone says.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I would have to watch more of it to really judge. So we're a mecha anime.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you the other S tier show. You know what it is, or you will as soon as I say it.
Sure.
Gurren Lagann.
Absolutely.
Gurren Lagann, and is an S tier show. After watching Alexander's video, I'm not. I don't even hate the ending anymore. I don't know. I almost don't know. Like, what do you even say about Gurren Lagann? It's brilliant. It's just a brilliant show. It's superversive. I will freely admit that as a trigger anime, it is not for everyone because no trigger anime is for anyone. So that's fun. So not everybody will resonate with the over the topness, I guess, of Gurren Lagann. but for the people who do, there's nothing that does it better.
By
On
the
that
way,
note,
the Ice Shield 21 rather, is while I never really watched it, that art always was great. Just saying.
oh, it is. It's the same artist as One Punch Man.
Which, speaking of which, S tier.
I would say I'm going to disagree and say A tier.
Okay.
There isn't enough. I don't think that there is enough substance. There are moments of brilliance, but the S tier. Yeah, it's close. Yeah, Megabuster Shepard says Goron is great until that last 5 minutes. I used to agree with you. Then Alexander put out a couple of videos on Gurren Lagann, and he talked me into the ending. So, I actually no longer really have an issue with the ending of Gurren Lagann. I think it fits the show.
So here's something. Before we move on from mecha anime, first off, there's the Char movies, the Gundam remastered movies, which are all solidly A tier if you haven't seen them yet, Anthony. It's a great way to introduce yourself to the main story of Gundam without having to watch all the weird stuff.
I'll watch them, but they won't be on the list because they're movies.
Oh, that's fair. It's a series of movies, though. Then here's the next one.
Well, if we're talking about Gundam, then I'll just mention that I would stick Iron-Blooded Orphans solidly in the B tier. I've always talked about that show. It's enjoyable.
I wouldn't argue with you. Before we move on from mecha, though, Kill la Kill.
See, this is another one. This moved up in the rankings a lot. S tier.
Okay, yeah, it was always an S tier for me. So I am absolutely happy with that.
Now, by the way, as for Iron-Blooded Orphans, I'm going to go through it real quick, and I know I'm pretty sure you haven't seen it.
Nope.
Did you watch? Yeah.
I've watched the first season's worth.
Oh, so you did watch the first season?
I think I've watched the first season.
Okay. So I would say Superversive, but very dark.
Yep.
So, it's Superversive, but it's not what I would call an uplifting show. However, I would say hesitantly Superversive. Now, Kill la Kill. Kill la Kill is a show that I changed my opinion on, and you know what? I think I have to do it. It is an S tier show.
I'm just happy you're not fighting me over the mecha designation.
No, that's obvious.
There's been some internet fights. They've been glorious.
That's funny. So Kill la Kill, though, is it Superversive? Yes.
Oh.
You know what?
Oh.
I'm
playing devil's
advocate. I will say Kill la Kill is Superversive.
Oh.
Bradford Walker says Iron-Blooded Orphans is very much we nurture trees whose shade we shall never enjoy. Agreed. Iron-Blooded Orphans, I've always mentioned, it's a solid B tier show. It would be higher, except it has one very extremely specific weird quirk where they will introduce very important plot points within an episode and then resolve them later that episode. And, it's so bizarre because it's not even like the writing here is necessarily bad. They do it well, but it's just so sudden. In one episode, we learn one of the characters has a brother who went missing when he was a child. Then, right after he says this, same episode, we meet that brother, and it turns out he's on, the opposite side of the conflict.
Oh, is he in that one weird dude's, harem of children Gundam pilots?
I think so.
Ugh.
So, then, the brother goes, wait, let me try and talk to him. And, of course, he goes, screw you, I'm evil. Right? You betrayed, or, really what he's saying is, you left me behind when we were younger. I live a much harder life than you, so screw you. Right. And then the episode ends with that same brother who we met, either that episode or the previous episode. We just learned he existed, dying to save the original character. All of this happens immediately after we learn that he exists. It's so weird. They do the same thing with the nurse who is like the caretaker for the princess on the Ironblood orphan team. She betrays her, and then she sacrifices herself to save her in the same episode. And we got nothing on her backstory. We got like no build up on their relationship. Then suddenly we learn that she betrays her, and then that she's still close enough to her though that she and sacrifices herself to save her. Self isn't like specifically bad. It's just really, really fast.
Giving yourself whiplash.
Yeah. It's just like it's such a specific problem, and I've never seen anything else with that exact problem. I don't know what happened there. I do know that Maria Okada was the scriptwriter, which is bizarre to me. She's the scriptwriter for Toradora. By the way, Toradora A tier.
Okay. No fight.
Sticking that there now.
Please stop beating me. I agree with you. Alright. I'm looking for...
And Superversive, but more mecha.
More mecha.
I actually don't watch it. I don't watch a ton of mecha, to be honest.
Yeah, I watched some, but it's got to be real special. Gundam 00 was a C for me.
So, Gundam 00, is it Superversive?
No. It's actually...
Alright.
I could actually make an argument it's about boomers eating up the seed corn that other people have left out for them. But I don't remember enough to say that it was like that. Heavy Gear was a C. Actually, I won't say it was an anime. I don't think it was an anime. I think it was a Western production, actually.
Ah, well, I'll take it out.
Yeah.
So, Mega Buster Shepherd acts for Ray Hexaphon and Evangelion. So, Evangelion, I've made it through about 6 episodes. So, I did not watch the full season.
How about this, though?
I found it super boring. C tier.
Ray Zephon. I think I saw that one. I'm going to double check. Keep going.
Bradford Walker. So, by the way, Havocbringer and Bradford Walker bring up. Havocbringer says, IBO was strange. Couldn't they have walked out of the mercenary business? Great action. And Bradford Walker says, you can't act on what you cannot conceive to be possible. And child soldiers have a hard time conceiving of not being soldiers. I agree with Bradford's take on it. Yeah. That was actually one of the most powerful things about Ironblood Orphans and one of the best parts of the series. Honestly, I was sold on the series when the orphans, rebelled and took over the war machine that they were a part of, and when the generals started mouthing off to them, they just capped them in the head while they were tied up. That's what, and at that moment, I was pretty sold on this series. I'm like, okay, this is pretty dope. But yeah, Evangelion, I've watched 6 episodes. I got tremendously bored. Honestly, my take on Evangelion isn't even on most people's. It wasn't even that I had any problem philosophically with it. I just found it like boring.
I never watched Ray Zephon, sorry. There's an anime that's basically a mecha anime.
As far as yeah, get in the robot, Shinji. You know what? You're right.
Keep going.
Nope, that's it. That's all I got.
People have talked about Evangelion that we could probably say it's somewhere in the C to B tier in actuality, but it is absolutely so subversive we probably wouldn't finish it even if we tried. I just wish I could.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you because I got bored with it before the end. Bradford Walker says Ray Hexaphon is Evangelion done right. Josh Young has always said the same thing. He's been pushing Ray Hexaphon. So Josh Young, for those who don't know, is another one of the series of authors. He is one of the authors in God Robot. He's had a novel that was supposed to come out with Castalia House for a long time now. Unfortunately, he had to do boring stuff like have a child, so it got delayed.
Listen, if I could rebuild my life several times while also maintaining my schedules, I'm just saying, kid or no kid, I'm still meeting my schedule, even if I have triplets. No, I'm kidding. I shouldn't say that out loud. I'm going to actually have to keep a schedule while having triplets now. Big O is B tier, and I would say it's superversive. It's about rebuilding the fractured society and putting to rest the demons of the past.
Big O.
Yep. Big O. Da da da. And
Big
it's
O, Superversive.
I don't really listen to the soundtrack, but every time I hear it, I go, Alda Noah Zero.
Tried watching it, failed.
I watched the first season. It is bad. It starts off good, and Urobucher made the first one. There is this fantastic shower strangling scene between the assassin and the princess, but that's something you don't show the kiddies, and it is absolutely useless except to put the princess into a coma. It is one of the most mishandled anime plots I've seen, and by the end of it, it makes no sense. Characters switch off multiple times. The plot outline doesn't make sense. It's a JoJo thing with like, where everyone has these overpowered abilities and they have to figure out the puzzle, but um, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. The Heavens Fall thing there, the soundtrack is fantastic, but it just doesn't work, and it is entirely offensive in its doesn't workness. It's like they took like some flashcards.
F tier.
F tier for me. It is offensive to me. Um, Fate Zero is an A tier.
By the way, not Superversive.
Not superversive either. Very subversive.
You know, I've watched the Fate shows.
Huh. Fate Zero is an A tier. Fate, and it is superversive, and then there's another one.
So, I've tried watching Unlimited Blade Works once. Here's the problem with it. Here is my problem with Unlimited Blade Works. Fate Zero Unlimited, or Fate Unlimited Blade Works. There are two versions of it, and I wanted to watch. The reason that I was going to watch it is because I heard it was animated by Ufotable, and of course Ufotable are a great animation studio. So I'm like, oh, that's got to be fun. But the version I found, like, this doesn't really look like Ufotable. This is okay, I guess. It looks fine, but that's the Demon Slayer studio. And then I looked it up, and there were two versions of Unlimited Blade Works, and one was animated by Ufotable, I believe the movie, and one was not.
Yep.
So, nope.
And for some reason, they're like, yeah, we could just tell the same story over and over again, except with different choices. And it's like, it's the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good the first time. Fate Stay Night is D tier.
Got it. Although you did put Fate Zero in the A tier, so...
Yeah, Fate Zero is an A tier story, written by Gen Urobuchi in his prime, before he did Alda Noah Zero Episode 1, and only Episode 1, by the way. And
is Fate Stay Night Superversive?
No. It is about screwing a feminized version of King Arthur.
By the way, nothing in the D or F tier is Superversive. I'm just going to throw that out there. And 12 Kingdoms is ranked as Superversive, but only to the Chinese in the C tier. So, just interesting stuff.
Right.
Make of that what you will.
I get, like, Chinese Superversive, I guess we'll say. Asian Superversive. I'm trying to find his stuff. Bakano.
Want to see it, haven't yet.
It is A tier, and it is... I cannot tell. I can't do it. I can't tell whether it's subversive or superversive. Because it's about these immortals handling things in society. The evil people do get their just desserts, and those who... I guess it would be superversive, barely. I can't really call it whole hog superversive, though.
So I'll put Bakano, barely superversive.
Because it's got a lot of violence, and even though there's some really touching love stories in it, it just doesn't work for me. As superversive.
In terms of the superversive to not superversive radio, from C to F, only 12 Kingdoms is any type of superversive, and that's Chinese superversive. In the S tier, only Konosuba is not superversive, and it is a straight up comedy. Uh, in the A tier, No Game No Life is not superversive, and Baccano is barely superversive. The B tier is a little bit more. Saga of Tanya the Evil, we have not superversive, but not dangerously subversive. We have Bamboo Blade, which is not concerned either way, but everything else is superversive.
Yep.
Just an interesting breakdown. I think, as you go up the list, you see more and more superversive. I mean, considering our tastes, this is, I guess, is not surprising, is it?
Right. I'm just trying to find a bunch of anime I've seen over the years that I've actually seen that I could talk about, because Beastars.
Beastars, A tier, superversive.
Same. I kind of don't really go for full superversive on that, because there are elements of society is sick, and honestly, the storyline that ends with, okay guys, we can heal the carnivore divide by becoming pescatarians, is weird. And like, so you waited 100 years to tell us that we could eat fish? You weren't ready.
I haven't gotten to that point in the manga. I only watched part of season 2 and all of season 1.
I didn't read
Season
the
1
manga.
is the fish eating thing in season 2 or what?
It's the very end of the manga.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so that you're right that's dumb, but that just makes it bad, and I'm only going by the seasons of anime that are
Sure.
shit. So, honestly, Beastars looks amazing. The soundtrack is legitimately one of the best I've ever heard. Wild Side is one of the greatest OPs of all time.
Yep.
Psycho-Pass. I watched like 3 episodes of Psycho-Pass, and it was just too much for me.
Psycho-Pass is A tier, and it is superversive.
I can believe that. There was nothing wrong with it. It was just too intense for me. I had to take a break, and I forgot about it.
It is about defying the evil powers that be, promoting civilization, promoting goodness, mercy, and truth, and other things similar to it.
Season 2 Psycho-Pass.
Bad. F tier.
I'm not gonna mention it. Okay. So now we're into dramas. Honestly, I haven't watched that many.
Clannad, S tier.
See, I'm actually like, I would really want to put Clannad B tier. However, you being a big Clannad fan, I'll put it S tier with Descent.
That's all I ask. I guess sure we'll do that. I am trying to find an anime where these guys got these flesh mechas and fought each other. One of the friends turned evil, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Except it had like a really weird name, and I cannot find it. Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know. Think of dramas I've watched. I mean, it's a heist show, not really a drama, but
Canon is B tier.
what's it called? What is it?
Canon is B tier. Kanon.
I've never even heard of it.
It's Clannad's predecessor. I guarantee you've heard
Oh,
of it.
really?
Yes.
Is it superversive?
Unconcerned. Well, yes, I would say it's superversive. It doesn't subvert anything, and it promotes health and such like, but it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know if it's really superversive specifically.
So, Megabuster Shepherd says this: Full Metal Panic A tier. Here's my thing on Full Metal Panic. I could not stand it. I hated the female lead. I hated her. Hated everything about her. I hated the fact that she was arguing with him, even though she was in a foreign environment, and he was a trained soldier trying to keep her safe from the soldiers and rapists around her, and she was still bitchy enough to argue with him. I hated her. Their dynamic did not amuse me. I was not entertained by it.
Yep.
But there is an exception to this. Full Metal Panic Fumofu is one of the funniest comedies I've ever seen.
It is. That is an A-tier comedy. It is
Yes.
hilarious. Every single episode is a laugh a minute. Like Rick and Morty and all these other shows wish they had half
Yes.
the joke ability that this guy had. Did anyone care
Is it
about...
quite S tier? No. But it's close.
Ergo Proxy...
Is it Superversive? Unconcerned.
Unconcerned. Ergo Proxy is B tier. It is... I cannot... I would say it's...
Ergo Proxy is a difficult one because I know...
Honestly, how about this, Anthony? When we get back, by the time we get back home, so God willing, we're going on a trip in 2 weeks. After that trip, you have until then to watch Ergo Proxy.
God willing.
God willing.
Is it Superversive or Subversive?
I cannot tell you. I literally do not know.
No, so I'm gonna put no clue. All right,
Yep.
So
it is solid.
We have 13. That's fair. So Ergo Proxy, B tier, no clue. But yeah, Full Metal Panic Fumofu is in the A tier and is completely unconcerned if it's Superversive or Subversive. I guess if you were trying to guess one, probably it's Superversive, but it really, it's just going for a laugh.
Gargantua on the Verdurous planet.
Never watched.
It is a C tier anime, but it is subversive.
So C tier and Gargantua.
And I think it's more of a taste thing for me, by the way.
Gargantua on the what?
Verdurous planet. Just play Gargantua.
All right, and Subversive. So okay.
Superversive.
It's Superversive.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is about civilization, society, morals, and all that jazz. And they don't really subvert it as far as I can tell. But also...
Okay.
It's a taste thing.
Yeah, go ahead, finish.
It's probably better than the C I give it. It's just how I felt about it. Coyote Ragtime Show. Did you ever watch that?
Nope.
It's C tier, but with the caveat that the first episode is a solid S tier.
So, Coyote Ragtime Show, S tier first episode.
Yep. It is one of the best first episodes of any anime I've ever seen.
Is it Superversive?
It is about a group of people heisting a man's inheritance to his daughter. I'd say it is Superversive, but I don't know how that plays.
All right, so we have 11 minutes left for normal stream time. I know that we can and will go if we just decide that we want to, but that's, use that as our rough go. So I'm just going to name what I know 100% is going in my S tier, because we're going low on time. So here's my S tier. Right now, already in it is Log Horizon, Konosuba, Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill. You put in Clamad, I dissented. So, I dissent to B tier. Yes. But everything else, and Girls in Panzer is all, and I never watched it, so no opinion. In my S tier, what I would put in, first off, my favorite anime of all time, which you know, is, of course, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah, I won't.
And Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is S tier, and it is Superversive. It's extremely Superversive.
Oh yeah.
What is there even to say about it? It's one of the greatest shows ever made. Trigun.
Oh,
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay.
Trigun. Yes, Aurum is absolutely right. Trigun is another one that jumped. It was B tier when I first watched it. It's moved into the S tier. So I am going to stick Trigun there. Is it superversive? It might be the most superversive show ever made.
Yeah.
I think you can make a pretty good argument for that.
Yeah.
So yes, S tier. What else is in my S tier? Denu Coil, I know you stick it in the B tier, so I'll stick you as Descent.
For the new coil. Oh
yes.
yes, I remember it now with the glasses and the VR.
Correct. I know you stuck it at the time. You stuck it in the B tier, so I'll put you in as Descent. Ben Descent's B tier, but it's an S tier show for me. I loved everything about it.
So, guys, in the chat, pump whatever anime, and we'll lightning round them before we go.
Yep. Speaking of that, Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Difficult.
I'd say
on
B
the one
tier
hand,
and Superversive. That's my thing. Like I've never complained when it's been on, but
I tend to stick at A tier. I know that people will want us to stick at S tier, and I can completely understand why. But there is something to be said for the extremely slow pace and the, underwhelming animation. The artwork is great, by the way. Before anybody says anything, the artwork is fantastic. The animation, not so much. And there's something to be said for the extremely slow pace as well. It does several things extraordinarily well, better than anything else, and is absolutely worth talking about, but I still think there are too many flaws for me to put it at the S tier. I'd stick at A tier. You'd stick at B tier.
Which one?
Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Yes.
So, I'll put it. Let's see. Last time I put mine in S and you dissented, so we'll put it in B tier and I'll be dissenter.
Okay.
So, Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Yes, it is superversive. And I'll put Descent to A tier. Wolf's Rain, never watched. How about you?
I might have watched it. Hold on. You guys don't know how much anime I've watched over the years, and my basic premise.
Yeah, more than I realized.
So there's something weird about Wolf's Rain. I've seen this before. I don't remember a thing about it. Like I've seen he transforms into wolves. I've seen that guy with the weird haircut. But what was the plot? I can't even remember.
So we're gonna skip Wolf's Rain. Spice and Wolf, never watched.
It is
honestly
C-tier.
I've heard from too many people that there are like massive flaws with it.
So the flaws are exaggerated.
Keep turning me off. They keep turning me off. But
I don't know much about the flaws or anything what people say. It's a pretty good show about business, but it's ignorable everywhere else. Subversive.
Yeah, pretty much what I've heard.
It is
subversive.
Oh my goodness. Subversive because it appeals to merchants, and I'll leave it like that.
All right. Spice and Wolf is subversive. And yeah, because it appeals to merchants.
It promotes usury of a sort.
So, The Fruit of Grisaya.
Don't know that one. I'll look it up.
Yeah, never heard of it. Never heard of it. So, I'll go through more of my S tier. Silver Spoon. Silver Spoon is a charming slice of life by the creator of Full Metal Alchemist, and I love everything about it. So I'm sticking that in the S tier, and you can't stop me. Is it particularly deep? No. But it is the ultimate feel-good show, and also the EDs of Silver Spoon, Hello especially, and the Goose House song, which is all onomatopoeias, are two of my favorite EDs ever. So Silver Spoon's going in the S tier. And yes, it is superversive. It's Hiromu Arakawa.
Right. Spice Wolf, Wolf's Rain. So the problem is that every time somebody says something about Wolf's Rain, it's like, yeah. And then I'm like, something like that. Is that Read or Die? Is that the one with? Yes, but that's an OVA series, which we're not talking about.
So, do you have any S tiers off the top of your head that you could just include that
There's
we haven't
one
put yet?
I'm saving for the end. C
We're
tier.
kind of close to the end, but
We're saving
keep
it till
going.
the end.
Okay.
So, S tiers. I read so much manga though.
Like, man, we didn't even scratch the surface. Even of just of stuff we've watched, we still really haven't scratched the surface.
So S tier is One Piece.
I cannot even slightly agree with that. Hard dispute.
We'll fight that later. We'll fight it out later.
Not the manga. By the way, not the manga. The manga is great. No complaints.
Okay.
But the anime is C tier.
Okay,
it's not
fine.
that good.
You know what? I'll give this to you.
And I have watched the equivalent. I'll put it this way: I've watched the equivalent of a full season of One Piece. With that said, One Piece has literally, if you go by like 12 episodes to a season or 20 episodes to a season, I don't know, 50 seasons or something. So, you know, I did barely scratch the surface of it. But in a way, isn't that kind of the problem? The pacing is so bad.
Okay.
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 C tier.
Fine.
One Piece manga is S tier.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I'm actually literally going through lists of TV tropes, anime by year, just to try and jolt my memory.
Mega Buster Shepherd as Sailor Moon. Never saw it. Does not look like the sort of thing I'd be interested in anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I'd be in it anyway. Nothing about the concept.
Abane Renmei, F tier.
A tier.
F tier, and I watched it, and you know it.
You did, but so did I. All right. So Hibernate Renmei. Let's see. Who was the last person to get A?
Doesn't matter. Just put it in A and then say F, because I know other people like it.
Fair enough. We'll put U as the center. Is it superversive? Extremely.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
It's extremely superversive.
It is extremely not superversive. It is a subversive piece of art. It is about sticking around inside your depression until things magically solve themselves. When it literally
That's
kicks
not
in to
what
kick
it's
your ass.
about.
That is exactly
what it's about.
About.
It's about people who are trying to overcome their trauma before it's too late.
But
that's what it's really
about. They don't even remember
about.
their trauma. How can you overcome something you don't remember?
It's about the psychology, and you know what? I actually haven't seen it recently enough to even give you a strong argument, but I do remember enough to know that's not superversive. So before I say something that's clearly false, I'm going to stop.
All right. We can fight it out later. Put a note to fight it out later, because I'm not going to give up on it.
Ben Descent.
Haruhi Suzumiya
Ben also Descent. Superversive.
Yeah. Haruhi Suzumiya is B tier. Death Note is C tier. By the end.
Ooh, really?
Yep. I am
interesting.
I am aggressively uninterested in
because Death Note is the S tier for me.
Really? That's fine.
By the way, it's Haruhi Suzumiya as I'm writing the spelled it wrong, but whatever. Subversive. Is it superversive? Subversive?
It's probably one of the best subversive pieces, because it undercuts the slice of life genre and implies that Haruhi is God.
Havokbringer says, since you liked FMP Fumofu, you may enjoy Amagi Brilliant Park, which is by the same writer.
Amagi Brilliant Park
it was okay.
It's a B tier for me.
Exactly. It was an okay show. It was a little bit disappointing, honestly. Mostly because I expected more after Fumofu. But it was amusing. I liked it.
Let me.
Is it superversive? Unconcerned.
So
I'm going to put. So I know, because we'll go by this. Death Note, the second season of Death Note is C tier. The first season of Death Note is S tier. However, the first season of Death Note is so good, I honestly think it still averages out to S tier. Like I think it's a must watch. I'm gonna put it in the C tier with you dissenting because, as you said before, enough people watch Death Note that they'll expect to see it. They would expect to see it higher ranked anyway. I would put it in the S tier though.
Yeah.
And it's had a huge impact on my writing too.
Sure. All right.
Like Death Note has had an influence on me.
Sure, fine. I get you.
Also, is it superversive? That's the question.
No.
Probably not, but I think it's a. And yes,
and
then
so
straight no.
So here's the thing with it. The reason why I say that is not superversive is because the villain is not defeated by some sort of weird, holiness or goodness or something like that. He's defeated by trickery and by sacrifice of good people. In the end, L should have said, "It's light. We're going to lock him up for 3 months and see what happens." That's it. And things
That is kind of what he does.
He doesn't.
He tries that.
He doesn't.
No, he does.
No.
He does it with Misa, and L manages to figure it, and Light manages to figure out what he's doing, so he gives up the Death Note temporarily.
Yeah, but the thing is that he also undergoes a personality change. There are plot holes in this thing.
That's not a plot hole. They knew there was a personality change. That's why L handcuffed himself to Light to keep him under constant surveillance. That whole arc was about Light trying to throw. So that whole arc was about Light trying to throw suspicion off of himself.
Right.
He realizes he's screwed. Fine. So there's only one solution. The solution is he needs to give up the Death Note and he needs to throw away all suspicion. He undergoes a personality change, but they can't actually pin anything on him. So Light handcuffs himself, or L handcuffs himself to Light so that he's under constant surveillance. But of course, he doesn't have the memory and he doesn't have the Death Note. Then, later, when Light gets the Death Note back after the whole Yotsuba arc, and he gets his memory back, it is at this point where they have found somebody else. And it appears at this point that Light has conclusively proven his innocence. Even though L still doesn't fully believe it, it will be very difficult for him to get the task force back on board. I know this. I followed Death Note closely. I wrote fan fiction.
Get out. Get out.
No, actually I didn't. But I did write. I wrote a thing where I wrote a thing on how L could have won. I wrote like a.
All right.
Okay, and L could have won. There was a way for him to do it.
We'll talk about it later.
There are no plot holes in the first half of Death Note.
Put an asterisk by it, and we'll talk about it later because we do need live stream ideas. So I'm gonna.
Is it superversive though? Probably not. Right, I'd be okay with subversive.
All right.
But it's kind of complicated.
It's complicated. Excel World is B tier and subversive. I'm sorry, D tier. Excel World is D tier and subversive. I'm literally going through it. This is the only way I can do it. I have to remember names. Otherwise, it just doesn't work for me. Did you watched Allison and Lilia,
right?
No, never mind. Completely different thing. What did we put Amagi Brilliant Park as?
B tier, I believe.
B tier, yeah. So this is quite funny. Amagami.
It's Amagi Brilliant Park is amusing. To be honest, I was actually slightly disappointed in it, but less because of itself and more because Fumofu was so good. I had high hopes.
All right.
But it was definitely amusing. I was entertained start to finish. Yeah.
I gotcha. Let's see here. Angel something. Angel. What was the Angel? Angel Beats is F tier for me. It had a terrible story.
I'd stick
Fine.
I'd stick in D tier.
D tier.
It's don't get me wrong. I have no interest in defending it. It's not good, but I got something out of it. I thought the ending, which what Your Name did but better, was okay. So that, and is it superversive? I guess.
Hmm.
It's not good, but it's still superversive.
Bakemono.
Not everything. Just because something's superversive doesn't mean that's done well. They
Right.
tried.
Right.
Gold star.
We're saying that it's not subversive, and it kind of falls on the side of good. Bakemonogatari is A. Ooh, is it A or S tier to me?
Bakemonogatari. I haven't seen it.
Just put it down as a Ben S tier, and it is. Uh, ooh, I don't even know. I don't know if I could call it superversive.
So S tier, you said?
Yeah, you see, it's so good that I actually like. I like seeing things written about it, even though I understand it decently well already. And it's just kind of about people and their problems. We already saw. I'm not going to give it a superversive mark. Bento, BEN-TO, is B tier. It's about fighting over discount bentos at a supermarket, and I would call it superversive. It's about doing things the right way over doing corrupt things for power. Like this one guy's like, I've starved myself for 3 days to give me the power to beat you, Ice Queen. It was great. Berserk. Berserk is A tier, and it is subversive to superversive.
So, yeah, that's what I've heard about it, but I have not. So, I'm not really interested in watching Berserk so much as reading Berserk,
Yeah.
which I'm going to do one day. But with that said, I know that the 90s series is well regarded, so.
Yeah.
But Berserk will put subversive to superversive.
Yep. Because it was building up to good triumphing over evil. We'll just never see it. Blood Blockade Battlefront, I saw the first season only. It is C tier, and it is superversive. It's about.
So, I would have agreed with you initially. I rewatched it later because enough people had told me, like, Blood Blockade Battlefront's so good.
Mhm.
And I probably bump it up to the B tier after a rewatch. I actually really enjoyed it.
I'll allow that. Go for it. I won't even
So,
argue.
the premise of Blood Blockade Battlefront, and again, I know that the Digibro premise, but the premise of Blood Blockade Battlefront is so good. Like, just saying it out loud is good.
Fantastic, right? It
It's
feels
an
good.
ingenious. It's such an ingenious premise. It basically carries the entire thing. Like, I love the premise, and yes, it is superversive. It's by the Trigun guy. It's more subtle, for sure. It's not as in your face as Trigun,
Yeah.
but it's there. If you're paying attention, if you pay attention, it's there. Probably the best episode was when the vampire hero went and played not chess with the death god. Yeah, it was not chess.
No, I understand entirely. Blue
That was
Submarine.
actually a good episode.
Yep.
But go ahead.
Blue Submarine number 6. I would say that is an A tier for me, and it has one of
Haven't seen
the
it.
original Monster Girls with the mermaid, and it is superversive. It is about overcoming nature, trying to destroy and rule over man, and instead returning to proper stewardship of the earth. Anyway, I liked it. It's worth seeing. It is genuinely worth seeing, and is an A tier for me. For you,
Carl Philip Gable. Wait. Carl
Ooh.
Philip Gabler says, "I just found Pinkerton's Ghost last week and have now binged on all of the episodes. Thanks, dude."
Wow, thank you. All
You're
41
welcome.
episodes, amazing. Whew, whew. By the way, brand new animal.
Difficult. I would say B.
Superversive
Could have been
or
A.
not?
Whew. It wants to be. I don't know if it actually is though.
Okay. Well,
I'll say yes.
there it is. Zammed, The Lost Memories. X, A, and D, Lost Memories. It's got the flesh mecha. It's one of the first flesh mechas I remember that wasn't a manga specifically by Tsutomu Nihei. Because Abara also has flesh mecha in it, but it was never given an OVA or anything like that.
I've never seen it. Where are you ranking it?
C. And the problem is that I remember it, but I don't remember whether it was good or not. So I'm just gonna call it C. It did not offend me. I watched it all. I couldn't tell you. I can't remember enough about it. I think so, because it doesn't have adults are useless. It had main characters who fought for good and heroism and stuff like that. So it's like, I would say yes, and it could work out, but I couldn't go 100% on it. The problem is that, like, even on TV tropes where I'm trying to just pick out enough so I can remember the plot, it just doesn't exist. Like, people aren't talking about it. It was just okay. But I'm glad I finally got the name. Have I really not watched any anime that starts with W besides Wolf Rain? Wonder Egg Priority is not done. Working.
I haven't finished it. I heard it was terrible. I heard the ending was
we can talk about it, but it's basically the same. It's not the same ending as Flip Flappers. It's the same genre of ending as Flip Flappers, where people, specifically relatives of the characters, are involved in the plot and have their own ideas about what should happen. But I'm not going to judge it yet because I haven't watched it all. Working is D tier for me. It does have funny moments, but I just don't care for it.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. You watched a lot more anime than
we're not even done, dude.
No, we're not. But like, I've watched a ton of shonen. We haven't even, like, there's so much.
We should have broken this up, but it's too late now. Violet Evergarden.
Haven't seen. By the way, is Working Superversive?
No. Yes. No. It's Unconcerned. I need to stop dropping this. I'm sorry. Valkyria Chronicles. I'm not going to count it because it's a video game anime.
Okay. Keep going.
Ushio and Tora is B tier, and it is Superversive. It's about a dude and his demon fighting evil.
Yep. I watched, I think season 1 of that. It was very good. I enjoyed it. I know that J.D. Cohen, who is one of our frequent listeners and a very good writer, author of Stray Cat Blues, I believe. J.D. Cohen is a huge Ushio and Tora fan, and I can totally understand why.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's good. It's very good. And it's definitely Superversive. If you like shonen, you'll like Ushio and Tora. It's just, there's nothing about it that really stood out to me specifically.
Yep.
Which is why it's been made here, but there's nothing wrong with it either.
Right. Tamako Market is C tier. It is Superversive. It is all about hope.
Alright, Tamako Market.
The Tatami Galaxy is an S tier for me, and it is
really?
It is.
Tatami Galaxy.
So it's about a college student trying to improve his life. He ultimately makes selfish or unselfish decisions. So I am going to say it's Superversive because it is about a man trying to improve himself and enter the real world property as his own person, but not against
Very
society.
I'll have to give that a shot, actually.
Yeah, it is a requirement for me to, like, I absolutely believe that people should watch it. Tagami Bachi Letter B is D tier, and I cannot remember whether it was Superversive or not. I did not like it.
What was it
called? Takami Bachi Letter B. It was a shonen one that got some. So, based on what I know about your age, I believe you're too young for it. it got some hype, and then the anime turned out to be disappointing, and it disappeared.
So Takami Bachi and can't remember.
Yep.
If it's
Tech.
we got a hold on in the comments. We got one Shirobako. Have you seen Shirobako?
No. Maybe.
You want to know something? So it's one of Digibro's favorites.
Yeah.
Because it's about making anime. Is right up his alley.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious, by the way. I do wonder if Digibro ever watched Aizoken, but
I think
curious
he did.
to know what you would think.
I know he made at least one video on it.
I can't remember him making a video on it. Whatever.
It was one of his last ones.
I'm curious to know what he thinks of Aizoken. Because I never, I genuinely think he like it. Going, yeah, I hated it, and then vice versa. So, I would think he would like Aizoken, but who knows? There could have been something about it that turned him off, but whatever.
I watched
Shirobako.
I watched some of it, and I just didn't care, so I'm not gonna rate it. Didn't finish
Shirobako or Aizoken?
Shirobako. Aizoken I didn't watch.
You know what? I watched both seasons of Aizoken. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm thinking if I should put it in the B tier or the A tier. Because here's the thing, it's not a show I would necessarily go back to frequently, which a lot of the shows in the A tier are. I've rewatched Kuroko no Basuke, I've rewatched Full Metal Panic Fumofu. Yeah. And those are all A tier shows. But at the same time, even if it's not one I would personally rewatch, I could see the quality in it. Yeah. It's just not normally the genre I step into. So I'd stick it in the A tier. I really like Shirobako. It's a fun show. I know they made a movie. I wonder if there's going to be a way for me to find the movie one day. Maybe Crunchyroll or Funimation got it.
I don't know.
Is it Superversive? I have no idea. Is it Superversive? Yes. It's definitely Superversive. Time
of Eve is a B tier, and I would say that it is subversive. Because it's basically a whole bunch of how do I want to do it? It's about accepting people and having relationships with people who society does not deem appropriate. But the thing is that even though it wouldn't be
now, what show is this?
Time of Eve.
I don't know.
This is from 2008. Again, it's probably one you're a bit too young for. Look at me, a 30-year-old boomer, and I did drink my boomer juice before this stream, which is why I can keep going. But basically, imagine it so this guy goes to a cafe where people have to turn off whether they're a cyborg or not. So nobody knows whether or not you're a cyborg. And it's designed so that people can walk in and then the door locks so you don't know where the person who you might know is a cyborg or not is. And he basically sees his household robot inside the cafe when she should be doing her thing. And it starts up, I can't remember the ending of it, but basically it's one of those things where people might say, oh, well, that's maybe a Superversive thing. But in actuality, it's one of those pieces of art that leads to subversion, which is why I'm calling it subversive.
You're absolutely correct from your description. So one more time the title, because I didn't have
time of Eve. Timeoffeve. The next one I'm going to talk about is Tower of Draga.
D tier, you said? By the way,
D tier, you said? B tier. Or C tier. Put it in C tier.
Okay.
Tower of Draga is D tier. It is a generic fantasy show about a mobile game of some kind. I can't remember. I don't care. It has a bad ending. It has bad characters. I just don't like it. It is unconcerned. Texnolize is C tier. It is subversive. It is a very grim show.
Oh, I know Technolize.
Same guy who did Big O, funnily enough. And Eureka 7. This
which
guy
we
has done
already
a
went
lot.
over.
Yeah. And Razifon. And Serial Experiments Lane, which is an A tier.
Wow.
It is subversive.
Serial Experiments Lane.
It is about being consumed by your online presence. Not about overcoming it or becoming a better person or anything like that.
So,
etc.
I'm trying to think if I missed anything in my S tier list, like my personal S, the stuff that I immediately put in. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Trigun, Den Coil, Konosuba, Silver Spoon, Death Note, Log Horizon. Yes, I'm missing a very obvious one. Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop, A tier.
Interesting. So you would not put it in the S tier. I'm
So
surprised.
I would not argue for anyone saying it's S tier, but I just can't always jive with the characters. Like, it's good jazz, you know what I mean? But the jazz doesn't always work for me. Does that make sense?
Yes. Is it superversive or subversive? Very difficult question in its case. I would say it's not superversive, but it's not subversive either. And yeah, unlike other shows, I also wouldn't say it's completely unconcerned.
Right.
It's it's a really interesting show in that sense.
Yeah.
So I'll put you as the center to A tier. Like, the message of Cowboy Bebop is a really difficult one to get into, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it's a hard show. And I know that the common conclusion of most fans of the show is that Spike dies at the end, but I disagree it's as conclusive as everybody says it is.
Yeah.
I think that the final episode offers you good thematic reasons to doubt it, or for it to at least be ambiguous. I think it's, whether Spike dies, it's just supposed to be ambiguous. I don't think you're supposed to be able to draw the conclusion that he did or didn't die, because they have the conversations that they're discussing that they're talking about earlier. He talks about the cat who, has 9 lives and who eventually dies after running back into the fight. But then Spike says, "I hate that story." So, and Faye is concerned that Spike is going off to die, but Spike denies that was ever his goal. Faye doesn't seem to believe him because she shoots the ship in frustration. But Spike, at least, claims he doesn't have a death wish. The weird thing about Cowboy Bebop is that the crew of the Bebop don't really seem to have any sort of bond with each other. Spike and Jet have a bond, but Faye is just kind of there.
Yep.
And, like, intentionally. This isn't a criticism of the show either.
Yeah.
This is the point. So at the end of it, when she threatens Spike, it comes less across that, they now have this tight bond and she's afraid to lose him, as Spike is a part of her life and she doesn't want him to be not a part of her life anymore because she's lost so much, which I think is the point.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to get that they have this deep bond or whatever. It's more that Faye is an extremely broken person, and it would be like Spike was abandoning her. So, I'm gonna say ambiguous, but intentionally, in terms of superversion. Bradford Walker says Ed and Ein are the morality pets of the show. Is Ed a morality pet, though? How good of a person is Ed, really? Also, low-key, the best episode of the show is actually Mushroom Samba, which has one of the best jokes in any anime I've ever seen. They have Mushroom Samba is the episode where they all get high on mushrooms that they buy, and they're running out of food, and Ed decides she's going to collect the bounty herself. And there is this absolutely unbelievable scene where the bounty that they're looking for is standing outside of, I forget, a bar or something. And a dude taps him on the shoulder, and he has a coffin with him. And he goes, "Hey!" And the guy turns around and sees him and goes, huh? Who are you? Why do you have a coffin? Goes, yeah, probably don't remember me, but you killed my brother. And I carry this coffin around with me ever since that day, 10 years ago, as a reminder. Then a car runs it over mid-sentence. And it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. He just like starts going off in the street. He's like, yeah, I've been day for years. I've carried this coffin around with me as a symbol of, and you just see the car running over the background.
I think
It's maybe my favorite joke in any anime ever. So Cowboy Bebop is S tier.
absolutely sure. Let's do it.
What were you gonna say?
Quintessential quintuplets is an S tier for Ken.
S tier for Ken. But I
Yep.
haven't seen it, and I also have no interest in it
I have
because
not seen it either.
it looks like something I would very much not enjoy.
Oh yeah. So
Sorry,
I've been
Ken.
acquiring names. D tier or F tier, the Sacred Blacksmith. Terrible characters. I can't believe I was forced to watch it. The Bahamut series is A tier.
Superversive or subversive?
Subversive. But that's kind of meaningless for that assumes this thing has any sort of thought to it. The Bahamut series, the Rage of Bahamut series, is usually A tier, but I haven't seen the second season. But it's pretty good. It's about a lovable rogue getting redeemed and
Can you spell it?
RAGE of BAHAMUT Genesis.
Alright, you lost me after like the first 3 letters.
BAHAMUT.
Okay. Bahamut. Is it superversive? Ben,
Sorry, a business thing came
I
up.
lost you.
Uh,
Is it superversive?
yes. It's about personal redemption. I'd go for it. I always enjoy it. It's got good animation and stuff like that. Surprisingly good. Read or Die, the TV show. Oh my goodness, it got 26 episodes. Why? I've watched
Alright,
it.
hold on. Mega Buster Shepherd said, gotta go to bed, night, guys, night. And it is
Night.
9:20. So I vote that we call it now, but we'll go back to this.
No, let me finish off
We
my
haven't
lightning
even
round.
gotten to the shonen.
Let me finish my lightning round. Read or Die, the TV.
Fine.
D tier. Not Superversive.
Wait, what's it?
Read
Hold
or
on,
Die.
what?
Read or Die.
D tier?
D tier. It is very boring, even though it's about people defending libraries. Let's see. Romeo x Juliet. D tier. Subversive.
That's the same title as the
No, that's
Baz
Romeo.
Luhrmann version.
That's Romeo plus Juliet.
Oh,
Pleb.
silly me.
Pleb. Did you ever finish
Not
ReZero?
superversive?
It's meaningless. It's as superversive as Romeo and Juliet is. How about that?
I finished season 1 of ReZero, so that's enough for our purposes.
All right. What would you rate it?
And honestly, I would probably rate it C tier. I know that that's actually controversial, and that people like Alexander would like put it in the S tier, but I can't. I just was not a big fan.
Okay.
Is it superversive? I guess probably.
No.
I don't know.
I disagree. It's about a dude safe scumming his way to victory. He's not really learning lessons. All he's doing is experiencing pain and then reacting to that pain. He's no more than a beast.
But he is learning. But that's the difference.
He's a
He is learning
beast.
lessons.
A dog can learn
I'd argue
lessons
that-
from pain.
Mm,
Did you ever finish?
he undergoes growth. I think he undergoes growth in the
Fine.
show, though. I think that's not a fair characterization.
Small.
And this is keeping in mind I'm ranking it in the C tier.
Fine. I'm not actually wanting to discuss it. Somali and the Forest Spirit. Did you finish it?
Yes. I put it in the B tier. I enjoyed it.
I think it was much
Superversive.
worse than that, but I'm not going to fight it out now. Shiki is C tier, and it is superversive. It's about a town gathering together to push out the foreign invaders who are parasitical, infesting the thing on it. People will go like, "Oh, but
What's it called? Shiki?
Shiki, Shiki. It's you. I guarantee you.
What tier?
C tier. It's better than that,
I
but I
don't recognize it.
That's fine. I'm sure you would. School
Superversive?
Rumble.
No.
No. Yes, it is Superversive. Superversive is School Rumble. It is the predecessor to Yotsuba. It is hilarious. It's not quite as funny as some of the other shows on this list, but it's got one of the best long-form comedy scenes I've ever had, where they had the school war across across multiple floors of their school with guns. It was fantastic. People died. It was great. Yeah, School Rumble.
School Rumble tier.
A tier. It's a comedy,
Right.
so it doesn't really matter too much to it, but it's kind of superversive. D tier, The Third, The Girl with the Blue Eye. It's probably better than I'm giving it, but I didn't enjoy it. I'll give it C tier. C tier, we'll say.
Alright, moving that to C tier, The Third.
Yep. Steins Gate.
Superversive?
Can't remember.
Alright, can't remember. Steins Gate. Interesting one.
Short answer.
B tier.
B tier. Superversive.
B.
Or not.
Yes.
Okay.
I say yes.
Okay. Paranoia Agent for me is C tier. It is subversive. It is about insecurities destroying people's ideas of society and a few other things.
I have not watched Paranoia Agent, but I've watched Eye Patch Wolf talking about it, so I'm surprised that you put it at the C tier. I'm not surprised it's subversive, but...
See, the thing is, it's about whether or not it catches me. Things that are watchable but doesn't catch me is C. Things that are watchable and I might rewatch it again is B. Rewatched again guaranteed is A. S tier is just amazing. Space Pirate Patrol Luluco is B tier. And it is...
It's high, yeah, it's high B, though. I really like it. It's very, very funny.
It is. I think it's unconcerned with Superversive, but I think it is Superversive.
Yeah, I would call it Superversive. Also, the dub is just as good as the sub.
Oh,
the
yeah.
dub is actually hysterical.
I'm looking for...
It's B tier. Space Patrol Luluco is B tier, but, like, it's a high B tier. It's really good.
Yeah. Was this a TV? No, it's not the same thing. I'm looking for something very specific, and I will get...
Bradford Walker asked about Record of Ludos War. Never watched it.
Sorry, never watched it either. Plastic Memories.
Never watched, heard bad things.
It is kind of bad. It is D tier, and I can't even remember if it's Superversive or not. I have seen too many anime. I don't like this. I don't like how much I've had.
And again, we've haven't even gotten into so much of the shonen that is my bread and I've seen.
Promise Neverland. I would say
Season 1. Ooh, difficult. It's high B to low A.
All right.
It's the only season I've watched. I haven't even watched season 2, and I'm not going to.
Sure. We already.
What would you say? Make you the decider.
I would say B tier.
Okay. I mean, it's close.
It declines.
I really
fast,
liked it.
And the ending is guaranteed bad. Pumpkin Scissors was a B tier.
Oh, by the way, Promise Neverland season 1 is Superversive.
Yes. I would say the ending is subversive. Pumpkin Scissors.
Never watched.
I did. It is Superversive. It's about maintaining society against a series of bad things. Odd Taxi.
So, by the way, OK says first season is trash. Are you talking about The Promised Neverland? Because I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Or Record of
I
Lodoss
don't
War.
think I...
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe Record of Lodoss War. I mean, it's not a totally unreasonable opinion, but
Yeah.
I think the whole idea behind the series is kind of dumb. I don't know. I thought it was fine. Not much I could say. But, okay, anyway. Pumpkin Scissors, what tier?
B tier.
Superversive or no?
Yes.
Alright, next one, because we got to move.
Alright, Outlaw Star, S tier, Superversive.
Really? Because I would put it Superversive definitely, but B tier. However, I'll stick it in S for you.
Yep. It is.
So,
It is a personal.
I really
S
like.
tier.
To be clear, I really like Outlaw. It's a good show. So I could see why somebody would have it among their favorites.
It's quite common. I know JD Cohen and stuff like it. Oron High School Host Club is A tier for me, and it is Superversive.
Never watched. Doesn't look like it would be my thing, but
Sure.
my sister has also said it's good, and yes, it's Superversive.
Yep. Neon Koi is B tier.
How's it spelled?
Which one?
Neon Koi? What is it?
NYANKOI. I actually bought it for some reason. It's probably on sale. It's actually a pretty funny comedy where a guy gets turned into a cat and he has a cat allergy, so he has to complete stuff until before his cat allergy kills him. It's
That's
kind
kinda funny.
Bad.
So, Neon Koi, what tier?
B tier.
And alright. Superversive, yay or nay?
Unconcerned.
Alright.
No, so you watched this one, No Guns Life?
No Guns Life, solid B tier. Yes, Superversive, at least season 1. Season 2 was disappointing, actually.
It makes
Season
sense.
2 declined. Writing quality declined pretty sharply.
Did you ever watch Nodame Cantabile?
No.
It is a C tier. It's one of the first dramas I ever watched, but it got an anime later. And it is Superversive, kind of, but really unconcerned.
What's it called again?
Nodame Cantabile.
I have to you spell these weird Japanese words.
Nodane. Cantabile is an Italian word. Boy.
Nodame Cantabile.
Yep. Nabari no O. It is Subversive and it is D tier.
Wait. Nodame Cantabile. What ranking? Superversive. Gotta
C tier.
give me this stuff.
I told you.
Okay.
I guaranteed I said it. I said it. Anyway.
I'm trying to type words I don't know. And is it Superversive?
No, not. It's unconcerned.
Unconcerned. Okay. It is spelled completely wrong.
I don't care. We're fine.
Alright. Hold on. Comments. Darker Than Black. Never watched.
Darker Than Black. D tier. It had some hype because it used like real world burgers and stuff like that, but it honestly wasn't that great. I can't remember whether it was Superversive or Subversive. I was probably Subversive, just on reputation.
So I'm gonna go can't remember, probably Subversive.
So Nabari no-o, that's Nabarinooou. D tier.
Nadari no-ho.
Sure.
Sure, that's what it's gonna be. Is it Superversive?
No, it's Subversive. I'm just holding you hostage at this point.
You are, yes.
Made in Abyss.
It's high B, maybe low A. It's very good.
Alright, I agree with you. Subversive or not? Superversive or not?
Ooh, difficult. I'd say yes, probably. But honestly, like, not enough of the story has passed to really make a good judgment,
I would
at
say
least in the anime.
I would say what's covered by the anime is Superversive.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna stick it in the low A tier, even though I think. By the way, I put it Ancient Magus Bride, which came out the same year. I actually think is also A tier, and I put higher than Made in Abyss. So they're both A tier, but I think Ancient Magus Bride is better.
That's fine. Let's see here.
Also Superversive, by the way, so stick that there.
Awesome.
So we got Damn Man, Your White Dog is Nice, and our Jinro, Only Good Anime. I don't know what that is.
Jinro is a movie, so we will not be judging it. However, their design sense is top tier.
Parasite.
I did not watch the anime.
Never watched it, sorry.
Minamike. Did you ever watch that?
Nope.
It is C tier. It is a comedy, and it's on the Superversive side of things.
So Nanamete.
Minamike.
Menamike.
There we go. K-E.
And K-E.
Yep.
And it is Superversive. Perfect.
Right. Good. So Monster Girl Doctor. That is
S tier.
Yeah, it is A tier.
I'll let you do it because I never watched it.
Sure, it's
A
A
tier.
tier and Superversive. It's about handling things and overcoming difficulties. Because we're doing this fast without explaining it, where do you put My Hero Academia? Or did we already put it somewhere?
No, we didn't put it anywhere.
Okay.
So for seasons 1 through 3, I think I would put it in the A tier.
Just say it. Just say it so
Fine.
you can be done. So you can be done.
A tier.
Good.
Superversive.
Okay. I agree with you. Okay, so Monster Girl, did we already say Superversive on that?
Yes. Now, do you actually want to go through everything? Because if so, I could think of at least like 5 more.
Yes, but
off the top of my head.
You can't spend too much
All right.
time on it.
Yu Yu Hakusho. A tier, Superversive.
Okay.
Hunter x Hunter, controversial opinion, B tier, Superversive.
Okay.
Last Exile, B tier, Superversive.
I'd raise it to A tier.
I was in between.
Fair.
I'll put it in A tier.
Okay.
So I'll put Hunter x Hunter. Gotta write this all down. Hunter x Hunter goes into the tier and is Superversive. I'll put Last Exile A tier because I was in between. It's really good. You want to know something? Last Exile sequel, Fam the Silver Wing, is not good, but some of the animation in it is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, almost worth the price of admission in itself. It's almost a shame because it had potential. And yes, Last Exile, Superversive.
Yeah.
I'm missing some sort of shonen action thing. Oh, Demon Slayer.
There we go.
B tier. Superversive.
Did you ever watch Lucky Star?
No.
I would put it as B tier. It's pretty funny. I would say it is subversive.
All right. Lucky Star, Subversive, B tier. So, are we ranking JoJo's as a whole, each individual part?
We'll have a stream about that later. However, we'll save that till the bitter end.
So, OK says the anime discussion is kind of sterile. Can I ask where you got the albino German Shepherd? We've been doing this for 3 hours. It started off a lot more fresh. Give us a break.
No.
Have mercy. Have mercy.
We've got
also,
to get
where did
this...
you get the albino German Shepherd?
What albino German Shepherd?
Is it in the game? I don't know.
It
I don't
might
have
be
the
in the
game up.
game.
Probably. Yeah.
I'm just trying...
Have mercy.
Here's the
Look,
thing.
at this point, it's a challenge. I know it's sterile. We're going through it fast, okay? Give us a break.
Yes.
It started off good, I promise.
Yes. And it will. It is. So here's the thing. If we can do it, we can go back and use this as a reference point to help freshen up our actual stuff. Monster Girl Doctor, C tier,
We mentioned it.
Okay, Girl Doctor.
Okay, wait. Monster Girl Doctor, we stuck in the A tier before. How is it C tier now?
So there's conversations with Monster Girls and Monster Girl Doctor.
Amazing.
All right.
Okay, wait. Some other shonen show. Dr. Stone. B tier, but higher than Demon Slayer.
Yep.
And yes, it's Superversive.
Yep. All right.
So those were we've got the big five from 2018, I think, or maybe 2019.
Yep.
So the big five were the ones from Beastars, No Guns Life, Promise Neverland, Dr. Stone, and Demon Slayer. All came out the same year. And we got them all ranked.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going. Monster Girl Doctor C tier. Didn't actually see that one. Didn't see this. Monster Musume is B tier, Subversive.
Wait. So Monster Girl Doctor C tier, but is it Superversive?
Yes.
So
I could think
Monster
of like,
Musume is also C tier?
is B tier, but it is Subversive.
B tier, okay. But Subversive.
Honestly, we probably should have done this between the two of us by ourselves and then come back to talk about the interesting ones. But that's okay. It's too late now. So the next one is My Bride is a Mermaid. It is A tier. It is Superversive. It's about a man fighting for his wife against the sea yakuza.
Sure, why not?
Library War is C tier. It is Superversive. It's about preserving knowledge against those who would destroy it. Little Witch
I think we might have mentioned that already. Did we?
No, that's
No, we
Read or
didn't.
Die, and you
All
can
right.
delete Read or Die. I never actually saw it. I was mistaking it for Library War.
I see.
A Little Witch Academia.
So Read or Die comes off the list. Little Witch Academia. Never saw.
Really? B tier, Superversive.
Interesting.
We already said Lucky Star. Kakegurui is C tier. Well, I'll put it as B tier. I could watch it again. No, it's C tier. It is Subversive. It's that gambling anime.
Kakagurui?
Yep.
C tier, Subversive. Okay. So, are we counting each JoJo part separately or as one?
We'll have a stream about it later. Please.
You could just stop, man.
No.
It's 9:49.
We're nearly
Please.
done. We're nearly done.
I'm begging you.
I'm in the top half of the thing, and we've already gone through A, B, and C. Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. I am going to call, even though people like it, I'm going to have to say it's a C tier, and it is, I can't give it a Superversive or Subversive thing. Never got a read on it.
So not sure.
Yep. So the next one is K. Just the letter K. It is A tier, and it is Superversive.
Very well.
It's a terrible
How
anime.
about Sweetness and Lightning?
Never saw it.
Well, I'm putting it in the A tier though.
Go for
Sweetness and Lightning is really fun. B tier.
it. That sounds about right. I've heard it's a lot of fun and so on and so forth. All right, going into the J's, ignoring JoJo. Huh. I have actually watched very few J's.
You got 5 JoJo parts that you're running away from.
It's all S tier, and you know it. You know it. Inferno Cop.
Is it
S
though? All right.
tier.
Really?
No.
Never heard of
tier.
it. I have never heard of Inferno
It's
Cop.
Space Luluco's predecessor.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Inferno Cop, A tier. Okay.
He's the captain. He's the captain that she has to talk to.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. That makes sense now. I like how at the end of Space Luluco, she dies and then just, decides to go back.
Right.
Because you can do that.
There's one I'm looking for that I just can't remember.
Just do one. Ben, just give me your last one.
We're in H. We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're at H. There's a lot left.
There's not. I've been working my way bottom to up.
Fine. There's still a lot.
Yeah, there is. Let's see. I am looking through it pretty quick though, so I'm not doing it. High School of the Dead, A tier. Subversive.
I've only seen part of it. Yeah, I'm okay with A tier.
Humanity has declined. D tier. Subversive.
I tried watching that once because it looked good and it was bad. Did not watch the full thing.
So much of this I was forced to watch. No wonder I started blanking so much of this stuff out. Gee. Gankutsu.
We have gone.
Stop it. Stop it. Just get.
We're 52 minutes past 9.
Let's get through it then. Hey.
All right, so you're not getting your recording tonight, and it's your own fault because I asked.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. You're not even next. The Count of Monte Cristo anime is S tier for me and is Superversive.
Yeah, if it's not S tier, so I'm okay.
Gate is F tier, Subversive. I've killed Anthony. He's collapsed.
My microphone fell and got unplugged. Hold on. Is it plugged back in? I'm not sure.
I have always been able to hear you.
Wait. Okay, hold on a second.
I'm pulling up names as much as I can, guys.
Alright, so the last one that I stopped on before my microphone collapsed is Count of Monte Cristo, and it is in the S tier.
Yep, it is Superversive. Gate.
And yes, Superversive.
Yep, Gate, F tier. Subversive. Then the next one is God Eater, D tier, Subversive.
God Eater is D tier, and what is it?
Subversive.
Okay.
I'm so close to being done. I'm so close.
You could just stop.
No.
Just stop.
Hey.
It's not. We're 54 minutes past
Eden
when
of the
we normally end.
Eden of the East is C, Subversive. I did not
C tier Subversive.
I did
Okay.
not find it as impressive as everyone else says. We already said a bunch of these. Flip Flappers is A tier, Superversive. It's about overcoming generational sin. Great Teacher Onizuka, B tier, Superversive. You good?
Great Teacher Onizuka, Superversive.
Guilty Crown, D tier, Subversive. We already did Flip Flappers. Food Wars, C tier, Subversive.
Yeah, seems about right from the little bit of it I've seen.
Shinsekai Yori, D tier, F tier. Put it in F tiers. Shinsekai Yori.
Would you put it in the F tier?
From the New World? It's
Because
bad.
I know that
Like, I knew it was
I know
bad
that
before
Digibro was a big hater, but
he's genuinely right. So I have different standards, and I can talk about them later. But yes, he's right, and it's worse than that because it's also morally incomprehensible.
I see. Interesting.
Yes. Genshiken, Genshikaen, is D tier, Subversive. It's about lazy college students. Is This a Zombie? F tier, Subversive. Okay, I didn't actually watch that one. Infinite Stratos, D tier.
Subversive?
Yep. His and Her Circumstances, B tier, Superversive. So this is something very important for later, but just put 3 question marks at the bottom and put Horizon in the middle of nowhere. And then
3 question marks. Horizon in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. Do-Ra-Ra-Ra. Did you ever see that?
No.
Okay. It is B tier, Superversive. It's about protecting society from viruses, essentially. Death Parade. Did you see that?
No.
B tier. It's about finding redemption post-death and accepting your life. Oh my goodness, we're nearly done.
Watch less anime, Ben. We have 2 minutes and we hit 10.
That's too bad, isn't it?
Daily Lives of High School Boys is high B to low A and unconcerned.
Yep.
I'll put it at B though, but I really enjoy it. It's good.
Dimension W is A tier for me, and I would say it was Superversive.
What is that about?
It is about the mystery of a cyborg, as well as the legacy of various scientists and a strange tragedy in the past. Let's see here. Cells at Work. I know you like that one.
What is it?
Cells at Work.
Cells at Work. Solid B tier. Fun show. Superversive.
We already said Clanad. Claymore. C tier. Subversive.
Wait. Cells at Work Black. Also B tier. Also Superversive.
Absolutely agree. Anyway, Claymore.
Just as good in a different way. Just as good in a different way. Claymore, what rating?
C tier, Subversive. Code Geass, D tier, Subversive. We were talking about Koya.
You would put Code Geass D tier, huh?
I hate it. I hate it so much. You don't even understand. You don't even understand how much I hate it. We can stream it.
Because I know that Code Geass is actually like kind of considered a classic, right?
Yep.
No, I've never seen it. But interesting. Okay, D tier it is.
So we already did Dimension W. Drifters is B tier. I would say it's Superversive because it's about defying the evil that seeks to destroy you and creating a new life for yourself, while also.
So what show is this?
Drifters.
And what tier are you putting it in?
B tier for me.
Fair. All right. Drifters, Superversive. It's 10 o'clock, Ben.
We're nearly done. We're nearly done.
We're not nearly done.
We actually are. We actually are. I'm just doing.
Ugh.
I've been doing one last check. Blood Plus. Did you watch that one?
What's it called?
Blood Plus.
Blood Plus?
Yep. It's one of the few
No, I've
Japanese
never heard of it.
shows that's actually portrayed Vietnam and Vietnamese culture. Funnily enough, fun fact, it is B tier.
All right, B tier. What's it?
Superversive.
And okay.
All right, we're nearly done. Did I watch C? I did watch C. So this is bracket C bracket control. It is.
All right.
It is C tier. It is, and then put next to it Merchant Subversive. Think of it like Spice and Wolf with the internet stock market.
I see.
We already said Cells at Work, Blood. Now, this is the last one before we decide what JoJo is. Odd Taxi.
I actually haven't watched the last episode yet, but from what I've seen, it's probably A tier.
Yep, it's A tier. And I would say
Yeah.
it's Superversive.
Yeah, I'd agree. You know, it's about people who are trying to improve their life.
Yep. All right. Now the last one. Where would you put the JoJo anime series?
All of them, ranking them all together.
If you want to do each one, we can discuss it for another hour.
Yeah, that's gonna be a no for me. All right, A tier.
I would say it's S tier, and we will talk about that on another stream.
I'll stick it A with you dissenting.
Guys, I want you to thank you for joining us on this arduous journey where you watched me beat one of my writers into submission. Claymore's manga is S tier and Superversive. I don't know. I never watched High School Fleet, and I might have seen High School Fleet. I'm just gonna go back and check. Let's see. Oh wait, no, I didn't watch that one.
So
wait,
this
yes,
list
I did.
is enormous.
Yes, I did. High School Fleet is C, Superversive.
High School Fleet, C, Superversive.
'Cause
How
this-
much anime have you watched?
So much. So much.
All right. I will send you the list.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining in. I do appreciate you, Anthony, being the secretary for today.
It's 577 words.
I'll buy you lunch later on or something. Whiner.
Amazing.
Alright. Okay, but what about the dog? I don't have a dog. There's no dog.
What dog? I'm confused.
There might be something going on with the game. Alright, guys, thank you for joining in. Join us in next time where, I don't know.
Be more focused.
We'll be more focused, but we won't be talking about anime. I will look over this list and we can start talking about it. And I'll probably add to the list. Who knows? See you later. Anthony, I do appreciate you working with us.